Please be seated. Good evening. I'd like to take a brief moment to remind all present that this meeting is a space for respectful and constructive discussion. I should add that the Standards Committee have requested that I make it clear to all members that by attending this meeting today, we are all agreeing to abide by the Members' Code of Conduct. In doing so, members are reminded of the contract that we all sign up to regarding the standards expected from us. Let's remain professional, respectful, listen to one another and uphold the decorum expected of this chamber. Members of the public are asked to observe the public meeting protocol, copies of which are available on some seats as well as on the Council's website. Could I also remind all members, in accordance with paragraph 6.1 of the Council Procedure Rules in the Constitution, that if you are able to, please do stand when speaking and addressing me. May I remind all present that the meeting will be streamed live on the Council's website and also Oldham Community Radio, and the recordings will be available after the meeting. Finally, could I welcome Brooke to her first Council meeting. Brooke is with the Council this week on work experience. Before we proceed with tonight's agenda, I'd like to invite Reverend Stephen Smith to lead us in a brief reflection. Father Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for inviting me to be your chaplain this year, first of all, and also for the privilege of being here to address this meeting. Honourable members, as the Mayor has just informed you, my name is Reverend Stephen Smith. I'm the vicar of the parish churches of St Mark Chadderton and St Gabriel Middleton Junction. I've held that post now for a little over 8 years, where I've been ordained priest in the Church of England for 20 years. Before that, and indeed during those 20 years, I've worked in various other industries and sectors. And over the years, I've met and worked with people, many different people, from many different parts of the world. People of different nationalities, many different ethnicities, and many different faiths. And what that experience has taught me, or one of the things that experience has taught me, is that whatever people's differences are, on the whole, all people want very similar things. They want to live in comfort. They want to be healthy, happy. They want to be respected. And they want to feel safe in the place they live. And if they have families, especially children, they want the best for their families and their children. We could put it briefly and say that most people, I think, simply want a good life. And they want to be left in peace to live it and enjoy it. And they want the world to be a good place in which their children can live and grow. But as we look at the world around us today, the deepening divisions between people and nations, the wars and atrocities that those divisions and differences are causing and constantly threatening to enlarge, the divisions in this country too. Unfortunately, so many people today don't have that kind of life. Many people are uncomfortable, both because of the state of the world and their own situation. People are unhappy. They often feel uncared for. They don't feel safe, either at home or in such a dangerously volatile world. And people do fear for the future, both their own future and the future of the children. And whatever our own views on the issues of the day are, and whatever colour of the political spectrum we stand in, we must recognise, I think, that these feelings and fears are very real for many, many people. We're here this evening because we're all public servants by no less than you. We're here because we were chosen and either appointed or elected to serve the people of Oldham or some part of it. And whatever form our service takes, I don't think any of us would have offered ourselves to this unless we wanted to do some good in the world. Wanted to make the world, or at least our part of it, a better place. That said, if we're honest, although we can raise our voices about the terrible things that are happening in the world at the moment, there's probably not a great deal we can do to affect the happenings on the world stage. We may be able to exert more influence on things at a national level, but again, our ability to do that is somewhat limited. But surely what we can do, and have the opportunity to do, is to make a difference at the local level, to change things for the better here, among and for the people of Oldham, who we, in our different ways, have been called and elected to represent and to serve. So just before the business of the meeting commences, I'd like to ask you all to take a few moments to think about how we might best do that, how we can best serve the people of Oldham, and how we can help them to have the good life that they are looking for, and also about how we, despite our own differences, might be able to work together to achieve that. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Smith. We'll now move on to the business of the meeting. Item 1, apologies. I have received apologies for absence from Councillor Gafford, Councillor Williamson, Councillor Chauhan and Councillor Kenyon. Are there any other apologies? Item 2. Please note that the agenda for tonight's meeting include the minutes from 2 meetings, both held on the 21st of May 2025. Firstly, the minutes of the extraordinary meeting and then the minutes of the annual meeting. Please note that the version of the annual council minutes that you are being asked to approve were circulated last week as a supplement to the agenda and can also be viewed online, not the version in the Green Book. Does any member wish to comment on the minutes? Can Council agree the minutes of these 2 meetings be approved as a correct record? Thank you. Item 3, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest from members in respect of matters to be determined by the Council at the meeting? Can members declare any matters to the meeting? Thank you. Item 4, urgent business on the agenda. Please can Council note that item 16, Members' Allowances Scheme 2025-26, has been withdrawn and will be considered at a later date. Item 5, communications relating to the business of the Council. Regarding item 11, notices of opposition business, I am proposing that the time for the items to be allocated as follows. Liberal Democrats motion, 10 minutes. Oldham Group's motion, 10 minutes. Conservative motion, 10 minutes. Item 6, petitions. There are no petitions for this meeting of the Council to consider. Moving on, item 7, Youth Council. We have not received a motion from the Youth Council to consider at this evening's meeting. Item 8, public question time, 15 minutes. We will now move on to item 8 on the agenda, public questions. In line with Council Procedure Rule 10, Council will consider questions submitted in the order they were received. The time allowed for public questions is a maximum of 15 minutes. Once this time limit expires, no further questions will be asked. There is no right of reply to answer given. I will advise of the name of the questioner and I will read out the question and ask the relevant Cabinet member or their deputy to respond. Responses will be limited to a maximum of 2 minutes. If the time limit is expired and questions remain outstanding, questioners will receive a written response. The response will also be published on the Council's website shortly after the meeting. The first question is from Roger Blackmore. Will Oldham Council's plans for the former Saddleworth school site include space for social housing and genuinely affordable housing? This site is still waiting to be developed, and its position close to the centre of Upper Mill could provide a significant contribution to the local housing need. Residents in Saddleworth, especially young people, finding it increasingly hard to find genuinely affordable homes. Will Saddleworth be receiving a reasonable share of the 500 social homes the Council is aiming to deliver in the next 5 years as part of the Housing Delivery Action Plan? I call upon Councillor Arooj Shah, the Leader of the Council and Cabinet Member for Growth, to reply.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and I'd like to thank Mr Blackmore for his question. Whilst full demolition and a number of site surveys have now been completed on the former Saddleworth school site, there are certain property issues that are still being worked through before the site can be taken forward for disposal. The site, however, does remain allocated for residential development, and as the property matters are resolved, specific plans with regards to the exact number or type of new homes to be delivered will be drawn up. I can, however, assure Mr Blackmore that this will include a significant proportion of affordable and social homes, as well as all properties being low-carbon housing, thereby supporting the borough's pioneering Green New Deal, with all new homes on council sites being built to the government's future home standard on sustainability. This is a very important site for Saddleworth, given how little land there is under council control that's suitable for housing in this part of the borough, and we will therefore do all we can to ensure that we get the right type of housing that benefits as many of our residents as possible. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Shah. Question 2. The question is from Magda Sachs. 6 months ago, Oldham Council committed itself to ensuring ethical investment by the Greater Manchester Pension Fund. With reference to the investment in fossil fuels, the urgency of action in view of the increasing intensity of the climate breakdown is clear. What update can you provide on the creation plan for stepping up this investment in fossil fuel companies, and also in ensuring transparency on the investment decisions taken by the fund? Who is taking the lead on the actions in the motion, and can you provide a timetable for the actions taken and planned? I call upon Councillor Jabbar, the Deputy Leader, Cabinet Member for Finance, Corporate Services and Sustainability, to reply.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Can I thank Magda for the question? We all recognise that the climate emergency is one of the biggest challenges facing our times, and everyone has a responsibility to do their bit. The Greater Manchester Pension Fund does invest in companies such as Shell and BP as part of its commitment to ensure that best return for members of the scheme. The fund does recognise the need to ensure that it balances sound investment with ethical approach and has committed to net zero by 2050. We all can agree that they should move faster and forward. This goal is aligned with the Greater Manchester target of 2038. It believes in construction engagement with companies it invests with, arguing for greater practices. And I think they are making very significant changes in large corporate organizations when they have a seat on the boardroom. They also invest in renewables, which, as we all know, is the way to a sustainable future. I think, Mr. Mayor, it is correct that we all expect them to move really faster. They're doing everything they can, and as a representative of Oldham, I will continue to make the case for Greater Manchester Pension Fund to move away from fuel for companies as soon as possible, therefore we have to take a balanced approach. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jabbar. Question 3 from Anna Roberts. NHS England has pledged to eradicate cervical cancer by 2040. It affects 3,200 women annually in the UK, and 800 die. Unfortunately, HPV vaccination rates are below the target of 90%, and the cervical screening target of 80% is also not reached. Those who miss screening tests will receive home testing kits from January 2026. Can the Cabinet Member for Adults, Health and Wellbeing confirm that take-up rates of HPV vaccinations in Oldham and what the Council can do to encourage more young people to be vaccinated and to support those who receive home testing kits to use them? I call upon Councillor Barbara Brownridge, the Cabinet Member for Adults, Health and Wellbeing, to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, vaccinations are an essential approach to preventing and reducing the spread of disease and infections. Although HPV vaccination rates are lower than where we would like, we have seen an increase in coverage for both males and females in Year 8 between 22-23 and 23-24. This service is commissioned through Greater Manchester, but Oldham continues to promote the vaccine through our school nurses. In the 23-24 academic year, 71.1% of 12 to 13-year-old females received at least one dose of the HPV vaccine, and this is only very slightly below the national average of 71.3%. In the 2023-24 academic year, 67.7% of 12 to 13-year-old males received the vaccine, and again, that's only slightly below the national average. Oldham takes a data-led approach to identify groups with low uptake for screening programmes, including cervical screening. In Oldham, the uptake is lowest in some of our ethnic minority communities and noticeably in our most deprived areas. GM commissions the Answer Cancer programme, delivered by a number of partners, to increase cervical screening rates in areas of lowest uptake. And when the home tests become available, the Council will actively work with partners and community groups to promote them. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Brownridge. A question from Jenny Harrison. The Oldham Times reported that Greater Manchester will receive a £2.5 billion boost to transport spending, including 1,000 new electric B network buses and a new tram stop at Cop Road between Durker and Shaw and Crompton. Can the Cabinet Member for Transport give us any further information about how this funding will benefit Oldham and when we can expect the Cop Road stop to open? I call upon Councillor Goodwin, the Cabinet Member for Transport and Highways, to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the 4th of June this year, the Chancellor's Exchequer visited Rochdale to announce devolved Transport for City Regions funding for regional transport infrastructure. And the Chancellor's announcement confirmed that Greater Manchester is set to receive £2.5 billion of a national £15.6 billion pot. This funding runs from March 27 to March 32 and will form part of Greater Manchester's integrated settlement. The indicative programme for Transport for City Regions funding sets out an aspiration to deliver 1,000 new electric buses on the network in Greater Manchester. This will include the continued development of more electric buses onto the network in Oldham, which will provide benefits such as reduced CO2 emissions and improved air quality. The investment will also improve the journey quality for residents through newer vehicles. In terms of the stop at Cop Road, council officers are supporting TFGM in progressing designs and a business case for the stop. The business case will set out strategies for funding and delivery, and the target date for the stop opening is 2030-31, subject to successful completion of design, approval of business case and securing the necessary funding for delivery. In terms of other projects, Oldham will benefit from projects such as the proposed tram train Pathfinder, which will connect Oldham, Rochdale, Haywood and Bury. Oldham will also benefit from Greater Manchester's plans to integrate local rail services into the B network, which will fully join up travel with buses, trams and active travel. This newly announced funding commitment is just the start of the work to deliver Greater Manchester's integrated pipeline ambition. Work to identify, develop and deliver the specific infrastructure priorities in every area of Greater Manchester will take time, and work will now progress at a pace with local authority leaders. Priorities include works to enable local regeneration, highway maintenance, active travel infrastructure, Vision Zero interventions and bus priority measures.
Thank you, Councillor Goodwin. A question from Stephen Ingham. I'd like to congratulate Oldham Athletic on their win at Wembley and promotion to the Football League. I recently saw an article about work starting at Boundary Park on Sportstown. Can the leader of the council confirm what benefits Sportstown will bring to the borough and young people in our community? I call upon Councillor Arush Shah, the leader of the council and cabinet member for growth, to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sportstown is a public-private venture between the landowners around Boundary Park to provide enhanced educational, health and sports facilities for all of Oldham's communities. Sportstown is about ensuring the professional standard facilities are made available for community clubs and sports to provide enhanced facilities for Oldham's young people aspiring to be the best in their field, and to allow a wider range of sports such as netball, darts and cricket. This includes new further education and higher education courses which specialise in routes to jobs connected with either health and or sports. Early examples include sports coaching, sports sciences, physiotherapy and other community health provisions like radiography as the facilities are developed. As the works on the site develop, I will ensure there is more information available for Oldham's communities about what will soon be available as part of their Sportstown offer.
Thank you, Councillor Shah. We will now take item 9, questions to the leader and cabinet. There are 90 minutes set aside for this item. Each cabinet member has a maximum of 4 minutes to present their report, with a further 6 minutes for questions from non-executive members. We have received several questions in advance from Councillor Quigg, which have been accepted. I understand, Councillor Quigg, that you have received written answers to all of these questions and they will be published on the council website after this meeting. Could I invite Councillor Arush Shah, leader of the council and cabinet member for growth, to present her report. This includes receiving the minutes of the meetings of the cabinet and the Greater Manchester Combined Authority and Executive as listed on the council agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I really want to begin my report by reminding everybody of some really fantastic news. You will all remember that Oldham Council has been named the most improved council at this year's prestigious LGC Awards. The judges praised our clear vision, strong leadership and the tangible improvements we've made in financial management, partnership working and delivering better outcomes for our residents. This award is not just about where we've come from, it's also about where we're going. Together we're building a better Oldham. We've also played a key role in shaping the new Greater Manchester strategy, ensuring Oldham's priorities are front and centre of that. We made 3 bold commitments in that were announced by the Mayor Andy Burnham a week ago today. The creation of the Oldham Neurodevelopmental Corporation, which will bring new powers to create thousands of new jobs and homes, boost the transformation of our town centre, as well as supporting major developments like Northern Routes, Sportstown and Chadderton's 20 million growth investment. Several major upgrades to transport in the borough, including the Cop Road Metro link stop and improved connectivity to Atom Valley. And a commitment to boosting our cultural and nighttime economy by supporting our cultural cooperative and the redevelopment of the Oldham Coliseum Theatre. This is all on the back of significant devolution to Greater Manchester. We're the fastest growing city region in the country, and Oldham will benefit from the new single settlement as hundreds of millions of pounds are devolved to Greater Manchester. Our resident-focused approach continues to guide everything that we do. Our town centre housing, all 6 planning applications have now been approved, with work beginning on the first phase in the autumn. We'll shortly be announcing a Meet the Supplier event with Muse, which will give local businesses information how they're able to bid for work as part of this exciting development. And this is a win-win for everyone. It's a win-win for local businesses who will get work, and the borough's economy will receive an extra boost. We're making visible progress on the ground too. Snipe Gardens, as most of you will see, now connects the bus station to High Street, creating a vibrant gateway to our town centre. And the much-loved old library is nearing completion, and we're preparing to relocate from the Civic Centre, freeing up this space for much-needed housing. The finishing touches to the public realm in Parliament Square are being finalised as we speak, and last month at the inaugural Town Centre Forum we shared the names of some of our flagship town centre developments. Rather than reinvent the wheel, Mr Mayor, we've gone with simplicity. So we've changed its official name of the Spindles Town Square Shopping Centre to what everyone all calls it already, which is just the Spindles. We're now working to support our stall holders as they're fitting out their new stalls, funded and supported by the council, with a new market expected to open in September. And whilst we're really keen to make the move, the timing must work for all stall holders. Sticking with the theme of simplicity, the new market hall will be known as the Market. And finally, our new event space will be known as the Loom, in honour of Oldham's rich industrial heritage and to keep within the textile theme. These names connect the past to our exciting future, Mr Mayor. We've launched a shop front grant scheme to support local businesses, retained a vital post office in the town centre, and took back control of our parking enforcement team to improve service delivery. And last but not least, we've seen a steady reduction in the number of households in temporary accommodation, from over 700 at the height of this crisis to 564 at the end of June. We're working with partners to increase affordable housing and make better use of existing stock. All of this work shows how we are moving forward as a borough, whilst always remembering our incredible history and heritage. In closing, I want to thank everyone who continues to contribute to Oldham's growth and transformation. We are making real progress, measurable progress, and we're doing it together. Thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Councillor Shah. Could I invite Councillor Waheed, Deputy Leader of the Oldham Group, to ask his first question?
Mr Mayor, can someone tap the Mayor, please? Mr Mayor, can I just make a procedural motion, please? In accordance with Part 4.213I, relating to questions to the Leader, I'd like to propose to suspend procedural rules to allow opposition leaders and myself as the minority opposition leader extra time to ask the Leader a question should time run out.
No, we're sticking to the timetable.
Mayor, it should go to a vote.
Okay. Go to the vote. Okay, go to the vote. In favour of the motion? Those against? So 30 against, so that's fallen. Going back then, could I invite Councillor Waheed, Deputy Leader of Oldham Group, to ask his first question?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Councillor Shah, children are crushed beneath rubble. Hospitals are reduced to morgues. Journalists are killed for bearing witness, and families are starved and displaced. The Oldham Group from very early on have had the moral courage to call this what it is, a deliberate systemic genocide. Councillor Shah, you and your Labour Party have been silent for far too long. I ask you again, or once more, will you today, as leader of the council, acknowledge that Israel's actions in Gaza amount to a genocide? And if you do, will you go one step further and call your party leader and Prime Minister to ensure that all British citizens, including dual nationals who have served in the IDF and taken part in this genocide, are investigated and prosecuted under international law, as would be expected from any just society? Thank you.
Councillor Shah, I don't think that was related to the report. Do you wish to reply?
It wasn't related to my report, but that goes into the fashion that the Oldham Group regularly follow, where they don't listen. So even if they show the respect and listen to the Reverend who started today's meeting, we talked about talking about issues that we have some control over. Now, I really, really detest, Mr. Mayor, the way the Oldham Group really politicise this issue. And when they use words like their moral stance on it, they are not judge and jury. They are not the custodians of the conflict in the Middle East. Actually, anybody who's got a heart, anybody who sees anything that they've witnessed on the TV, on social media, anywhere, is in solidarity and plight with the awful circumstances the Palestinian people are facing. But what we're not going to do is politicise it like they have. They were elected into this chamber, Mr. Mayor, as a vote for Gaza. They were knocked on doors saying, give us a vote, lend us our vote for Gaza. Apart from the odd theatre that they display in this chamber, what have they actively done? Apart from cause division, what have they actually proactively done? They say that they have moral ground, but they then take into their group the leader, the former leader of the Tories who led a walkout of this chamber on this very issue. So where is their moral stance then? I will not allow this issue to be politicised by everyone. We are all in solidarity with the people of Gaza. We all bleed for the people of Gaza. We all struggle, and we all want to see an end of that horrific conflict that is seeing the lives of innocent people being taken away like it's a joke. It's not a joke. It's something that the Labour Party, the former mayor actually, wrote a cross-party letter to the government of that time, showing and declaring all our disappointment in what we're seeing unfold there. But Mr. Mayor, I don't think it's fitting of any leader, not the leader of a council who has no authority on that side, apart from prayer. That's all I can do for those people, and that's what my faith teaches me to do as well. But I'm not going to allow this issue to be politicised. I'm not going to allow for division in this chamber. And what I would do is make a really humble request to the Oldham Group: do not use this chamber to divide the communities of Oldham. We're not divided on this issue. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Shah. Could I invite Councillor Waheed, Deputy Leader of the Oldham Group, to ask his second question?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just coming back on the response from Councillor Shah, nobody expects you to do anything. All that was do you call it a genocide? And for everybody's to make it clear, you didn't. And I'll ask. I'm moving on to my questions. Councillor Shah, the people of Oldham, particularly survivors and families affected by child sexual exploitation, have welcomed the national U-turn on a full statutory inquiry. But during the recent and the last CSE steering group before this decision, you stated that people are jumping on a CSE bandwagon and described campaigning on this issue as being fashionable. In light of the national shift and seriousness of CSE in our borough, do you now regret those remarks, and would you like to take this opportunity to apologise to those whose concerns you may have dismissed using this language?
Again, this does not relate to the report. Would you like to respond? Thank you.
I would, Mr. Mayor. Again, let me just explain. Firstly, that is a private meeting with cross-party leaders who actually discussed the issue of CSE and a partnership meeting as well. To disclose that anything from that meeting without context and to absolutely misrepresent it is not just poor, it's absolutely despicable. Secondly, when we were talking about jumping on the bandwagon and CSE being used as something that's become fashion for some politicians, then remarks were made in response to an individual who was absolutely bombarding with a survivors group who was there talking about all the work they do to support survivors and was absolutely putting her to challenge as if she was in front of a select committee. There was consensus that the approach of the Oldham Group member who actually did that was not appropriate. There was consensus in that room. And what we stated was that survivors group had been around in Oldham long before this became an issue for politicians to throw around the chamber. and to politicise, similar to the way they have done with the previous question. Now, it's really poor that he's used that, knowing that that wasn't how it was said, knowing that he's completely misrepresented it. And I will be really honest, Mr. Mayor, he's actually lied about how that was said and what them words were used as, and the context that they were used in. So what I am going to ask for the Deputy Leader of the Oldham Group for is a formal apology for completely misrepresenting that. And I'm happy to give a wider update on CSE, but what I'm not going to allow is for him to use his divisive, again, platform, not to talk about anything that talks about bringing communities together, but absolutely division, because that's all they know. Identity politics will not be allowed to have any room in this chamber.
Thank you, Councillor Shah. That is the end of the time for that section, so we're moving on now. And I will now invite Cabinet members to present their reports.
I've got a point of order, Mr. Mayor. Seems I've not been allowed to ask my question. You've said it a couple of times today. Leaders' questions from opposition leaders can be about anything, not just on the report. And if you look at the Council's constitution, you can respond or ask a supplementary to anybody to a question you've asked and the answer. Doesn't happen often, but if you look at the rules, it's questions to the leader, not questions to the leader's report. Yeah. And you can respond with a supplementary question or observation to an answer given. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We will discuss that later. Thank you.
Thanks.
I will now invite Cabinet members to present their report. Please can remind Cabinet members that they have a maximum up to 4 minutes to present their reports and 6 minutes for non-executive members' questions. Could I invite Councillor Elaine Taylor, Statutory Deputy Leader and Cabinet Member for Neighbourhoods, to present her report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As members will be aware, there has been a significant change to my portfolio responsibilities for this municipal year. For clarification purposes, while I am still responsible for licensing, which includes housing standards and enforcement, strategic housing delivery has now transferred into the Leader's portfolio. As a Cabinet Member for Neighbourhoods, as well as licensing, my portfolio includes some additional responsibilities to that of the previous Cabinet Member. So, as well as environmental services, I also have Cabinet responsibility for district working, community safety, planning and the VCFSE, voluntary community faith and social enterprise sector. Obviously, this is a large portfolio which spans a number of directorates, but I will ensure that portfolio reports do include relevant updates from all areas and work streams. In addition to my written report, I want to inform members about the Government's Safer Streets Summer initiative, which is now launched across Greater Manchester. The Oldham plan will focus upon retail crime and antisocial behaviour, so shoppers and businesses will see an increased police presence along with stronger prevention and enforcement action by the police and the council to support safer high streets. Sadly, over recent years, street crime nationally has skyrocketed, with theft from the person more than doubling between December 2022 and December 2024. And there has been record levels of shop theft, up by more than 60%, which is quite a staggering figure, and with offenders increasingly using violence and abuse against shop workers. In response, Oldham Council, working with the police and other partners, have developed a bespoke local plan for summer activity. It includes engagement, prevention, intervention and enforcement activity, and will be monitored through a fortnightly meeting with regular updates on activities with progress being recorded. And it goes without saying that I'm happy to provide an update on this at a later date. The aim of this initiative is to support town centres to be vibrant places where people want to live, work and spend time, which is so important as part of our town centre regeneration plans. But also it's about restoring faith in community policing after many years of declining police officers' presence on our streets. Therefore, our local plan will include increased visible town centre policing and ramping up the use of targeted enforcement powers. This also marks a key step in delivering the Government's neighbourhood policing guarantee, which from this month onwards will see named, contactable officers in every community, increased peak time patrols in town centres and antisocial behaviour leads in every force. Finally, I just want to touch on the Boxing United Community Cohesion Project. This is covered in my report, but I want to cover this because I want to just say to people that obviously I had the pleasure of attending the certification ceremony with the leader and a number of other cabinet members. And it was probably one of the most uplifting experiences that I've witnessed as a councillor. It was obviously a pleasure to be there, but it was such a pleasure to meet so many inspirational young people who were passionate about taking away their learning to enhance community cohesion in their own areas. And it also identifies, I think, and demonstrates the unifying power of sport. And so that is why we hope to replicate this with other sports clubs across the borough going forward. And I believe we're potentially looking at rugby as our next piece of work. Happy to take questions, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Some members have indicated. I've seen Councillor Shuttleworth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, an article last month in The Independent stated that 21% of private rented homes, more than 1 million homes, do not meet the decent home standard, with almost 500,000 privately rented homes affected by Category 1 hazards, reserved for issues that pose a serious and immediate risk to health and safety. Could I ask the Cabinet Member, Mr. Mayor, what checks does the local authority undertake to ensure that such properties within the borough meet the decent home standards? Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Sorry.
Thank you for your question, Councillor Shuttleworth. So, the Decent Home Standard is a set of criteria for social housing in England to ensure properties are safe, in a reasonable state of repair, have modern facilities and provide a comfortable living environment. The standard is currently under review with potential implications for the private rented sector through the introduction of the Renters' Rights Bill. Locally, the Environmental Health Team respond to private rented dish repair cases and undertake a detailed housing health and safety rating system inspection to identify Category 1 and 2 hazards. So everyone is aware, Category 1 hazards are very serious and the law dictates enforcement action must be taken by the Council when these sorts of hazards are found. In 24-25, 910 service requests regarding housing standards were reported to the Council and investigated. In addition, since the introduction of selective licensing, 477 audits of privately rented properties have been conducted to address housing standards. In addition to all of the above, Mayor Burnham's recently introduced Good Landlord Charter will allow tenants to proactively request regular inspections, and we are working closely with other partners in GM to ensure a consistent and effective approach to support our residents here in Oldham. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Lancaster.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In Oldham, Action Together coordinates our voluntary community, faith and social enterprise sector. Their online platform already advertises local volunteer opportunities, but we should always aim to further promote voluntary activity to strengthen civic society. I'm aware that in other areas, such as Bradford and Wakefield, initiatives exist to reward volunteers with discounts and digital currency, which can be enjoyed when purchasing goods and services from participating businesses. Could the Cabinet Member please consider introducing this type of volunteer reward scheme for Oldham? Thank you.
So thank you, Councillor Lancaster, for your question. And I know from some of your previous questions that you are quite passionate when it comes to volunteers and volunteering. So I know that you obviously gave the heads up to Constitutional Services that you was going to ask a question around this and about rewarding volunteers. As I've not been in post very long, it's not something that I know everything about, and this example is the first time I have become aware of it. But categorically, I think we're always looking for, you know, collaborative ways of working, and where you can bring forward good ideas, it's absolutely something we will take away and we will look at. I have got quite a lot of detailed information here, and I'm not sure that I need to necessarily read all of this out because I think your question was quite specific. But I suppose what I would say that obviously we do have Volunteers Week, which is held in June, and that is obviously a time to celebrate and thank volunteers. And Action Together working with all those amazing contributions that those volunteers make. I think they showcase that quite well, and I would encourage members in the chamber to perhaps go on their website and read some of the fantastic stories and volunteer stories about the good work that they actually do. I know that Action Together are also very passionate about shining a light on the power of volunteering and showcasing local volunteers and the impact that they have. I think for those who would like to get involved, we would obviously always encourage this. But I think alongside Volunteering Week, what I would say, what I've only just become aware of as well, is that Action Together have launched the Volunteer Celebration Fund, and it's a grant that gives VCFSE groups the opportunity to say thank you to their volunteers, recognising the importance of their contribution and commitment. So I will actually go away and look a bit more about the flexibility of that scheme. I'm happy to come back to you separately about that, and obviously to brief the chamber. Thank you.
Right. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Murphy, we've got 1 minute. So.
All right, I'll try and be quick. Given the state of our drains, parks and roads and the rising number of missed bin collections, and given the fact that weeds seem to be going untreated with no suitable maintenance arrangement in place for well over a year now, what does the Cabinet member propose to do to demonstrate to residents that they can get a grip of the basics? And what would the Cabinet member Cabinet member confirm that following the latest round of cuts, we will be left with even fewer environmental staff than we currently have? Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Taylor.
Yes, so thank you, Councillor Murphy, for your question. There's quite a lot of parts to this question, and inevitably it's my longest answer. Now I've come to this last. So if I run out of time, what I would say is that I can provide a more detailed response in writing, if that's okay with you.
Councillor Taylor, we've got 10 seconds, so would you... Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
okay.
That's fine. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Could I invite Councillor Jabbar, Deputy Leader and Cabinet Member for Finance, Corporate Services and Sustainability to present his report?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'm just going to touch on the key points in my report. Obviously, everyone's had the report circulated to them. Firstly, Mr Mayor, you'll be pleased to note that we're doing a review to support our residents in terms of providing the financial support that we can give to them. This is building on the work that we've started for greater take-up of the pension credit. And you'll note that in the first round, we managed to get £2.5 million for people who were successful in claiming the pension credit. Also, Mr Mayor, the outturn position for last financial year, 24-25, has been confirmed now, and it was 10.155 million, significantly less than what we reported in the first quarter of that financial year, which was 26 million. I think this was down to quite a lot of hard work that's been done to control the overspend in certain areas, and also use of the minimum revenue provision. All of the overspend for that year were actually financed from reserves, general reserves. The statement for 24-25 has been published in line with the statutory authority on 30th of June. We're one of the 6 councils in Greater Manchester who's been able to do that. And can I take this opportunity, Mr Mayor, to thank my finance colleague for all the hard work they do to make sure that we comply with all the statutory regulations and the code and best practice. Because believe me, it is really hard work to comply with all the deadlines that's been set and the best practice, and not many council can achieve that. Only, I think, a quarter of the council last year managed to achieve that. So thank you to Fiona, Lee, and all the other people who work very hard to deliver this. In relation to workforce, very pleased to say, Mr Mayor, that we were in the process of recruiting 6 new graduate staff who will be starting with us in September. I think this is really very interesting work that we're doing in relation to the early careers strategy that we've developed. It's giving people a chance to work for us once they've graduated, and I think this is a really good scheme, and I've been part of some of the interviews, and I was very impressed with the people that come forward and eventually been appointed. Also, talking about staff, Mr. Mayor, I'm very pleased to say that we developed a scheme with the OCL to allow discount to our staff to use the gym. It's £21 per month as opposed to £36, and I hope people will take up that. In relation to revenues and benefits, last year the council tax collection rate for in-year was 93.28%, slightly lower than the previous year, 94.11%. And then the business rate was slightly higher, 96.48% against 96.11%. Collection rate this year, first quarter, looks slightly better than the previous years. In terms of legal and governance, you will have received communication about the polling district. The first consultation period is over. There's a second consultation period between 11th of July and 8th of August. My request is please make sure that you feed back, because we want to make sure that we get comments from everyone before we finalize the program. We're doing quite a lot of work with Inclusive Bites, where we're trying to set up 50 digital champions and 30 hood hubs across the borough.
Councillor Lancaster, do you have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If it's agreeable to you as chairman of this meeting, I'd like to defer my question to the Conservative Group Leader. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Spending power in local government is reducing by 2.6% above inflation average a year under Labour. Since they formed the UK government last July, the economy has been sluggish and shrunk by 0.3% in June, sparking fears of a potential recession. Despite the Labour Party promising that council tax would not increase by even a penny, the Institute for Fiscal Studies has said that it will rise at the fastest rate in 2 decades, and that the Treasury is making up the numbers. An IFS analysis confirms 80% of annual growth in core spending power of local government is set to be from council tax increases. So please can the Cabinet member confirm if they have raised these concerns with their party leadership in Westminster, and confirm if council tax will continue to rise in Oldham, and if so, by how much? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't know which planet Councillor Quigg lives in, because under his government... Oh, sorry, Councillor Woodbine. Councillor Woodbine. My apologies. My apologies. There's so many leaders in the Conservative Party, Mr. Mayor. You know, I get confused. So my sincere apologies. The latest Conservative leader, Councillor Woodbine. My sincere apologies. So here's the issue that we've seen under Tory government: a severe cut in local government finance. And the formula was deliberately changed, Mr. Mayor, and the former Prime Minister actually bragged about it, saying, oh, I've changed it to give you guys better by robbing the deprived council. And they were very public about it, very proud. And what this Labour government has done, Mr. Mayor, is actually changed the formula to give council like ours more money. And this is the reality. And we've seen under their policy, under their budget, mini-budget, 22nd of September 2022, the Liz Truss government brought in the mini-budget, which crashed our economy.
Mr. Mayor, he's not answering the question.
It was an absolute disaster, and that's what happened.
Mr. Mayor, he's not answering the question.
Yes.
I asked him if council tax is going to continue to rise in Oldham, and if so, by how much, and if he's communicated with his government around the reduction in core spending power in local government.
But, Mr. Mayor, I have never seen, right, when I'm replying that somebody else is talking over me. That is not the protocol. That is not a protocol that we can sustain. You know, he's got to listen to my answer. You know, what he asked is nothing to do with what's in my report, but I'm happy to answer his question. The question is that we are lobbying on a regular basis. Before the election and now we're lobbying, and thank God for a long period of time the national government is listening to us, listening to a council like Oldham, which has real financial problem because of the deprivation, because of the issues that we have. And we are getting a positive response to deal with the issue that we've got, and we're getting, importantly, we're getting the responses to provide key services. That's a real difference, Mr. Mayor, and it would have been helpful if the councillor over there would have accepted that rather than criticise it. So to answer your question, we lobby the minister, we lobby the government very regularly, we'll lobby more. Is the money they're giving enough? No, it's not, but it's far more than what your government gave us. Yeah. And we will continue to lobby to make sure that we get the appropriate resources to provide new housing, to provide new schools, to provide better education, to provide adult social care, to children's services, and much more, and transform this town into a better place. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Charters.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Given the continued pressures in adult and children's social care and temporary accommodation, how is the council planning to strengthen financial resilience in those areas for 25-26?
Yeah, thank you, Josh, for your questions. I mean, look, this is a really important question because without actually managing the cost in our high expenditure area, like adult social care, children's services, temporary accommodation, it's going to be very, very difficult to do anything else. So we're on with it. We're doing a lot of work to make sure that we do things differently, which will deliver saving to us. So, for example, in temporary accommodation, we're actually talking to people to take out licenses. We're talking to residents to make sure that we can give them enough support to stay in their homes rather than coming to hotels or other TA accommodation. We're spending a lot of time in preventing people becoming homeless. We're spending quite a lot of time trying to build our own accommodation for children's services to make sure that these children who need our help can stay in local authority homes. So we're building number of homes, we're buying number of properties to provide that service. So we're doing quite a lot of things, and you're right to raise it, and I'm very pleased to say that my colleagues, both in adult social services, in housing, in children's services, have got an extensive program to work in this area to reduce costs, but more than that, actually work to reduce the people becoming vulnerable to require our support. So, all right, thank you.
Could I invite Councillor Shahid Mustak, to Cabinet Member for Children and Young People, to present his report?
A point of order, Chair. We've now had nearly an hour of this meeting. We've had the Leader of the Council and the Deputy Leader and the Statutory Deputy Leader, and the main opposition group have been allowed to ask one question and we're given 1 minute. Are we actually going to be allowed to ask any questions tonight?
If you're suggesting I'm not acting fairly, I don't understand where you're coming from. I am sharing the questions out as best as I can. People are asking questions, and there's another 7 reports yet, so let's wait and see.
Well, I've never been on this cabinet, on this council, and the Leader of the main opposition has not been able to ask the council leader any questions.
We're working to what the rules we've got at the moment.
Well, we've done it. We've had those rules for quite a while, and that's never been the case before.
We will discuss this outside of the meeting. I will meet with the leaders after this meeting, and we will discuss that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As always, a very busy 2-page report covering a wide range of areas from children's social care and early help, workforce, youth violence prevention and more. The portfolio remains a busy one, and we have a fantastic team to meet that demand and ensure a high quality service, working with, supporting and listening to partners across Oldham. Our Social Work Academy was highlighted in the BBC One show and BBC News. The coverage highlighted how the model we're using in Oldham has led to better recruitment and retention, which is directly benefiting the families we serve and support. The successful work has contributed to a continuing fall in the number of agency social workers, which, as well as providing stability, reduces the cost burden on the council. I'd like to remind Council that the social work agency rate figure has dropped from 49% to 23% as presented in the report. We continue to work towards further reducing the agency workers and building on a permanent workforce delivering the best for our children, young people and families. The report also highlights an improvement in care-experienced young people in education, employment and training, including 3 of our care-experienced young people working within the council in waste management, children's integration and 1 in our internal children's homes. Whilst we have seen an improvement, we won't be complacent. There's still a lot to do and we will continue to do what we can to increase the number in education, employment and training. Mr. Mayor, since taking on the portfolio, I have been a huge advocate for prevention and supporting families as early as possible. You can see in the early help section of the report, our teams continue to play a vital role in working with families before issues escalate to the point of crisis. Through targeted early help, work of the domestic abuse team and the ongoing success of the family hubs, we are seeing an impact of the preventative work being done across the borough. The fantastic work of the parenting team was highlighted by BBC Northwest tonight under the headline, "Oldham Parenting Group changed my life and made me a better person." The impact on mums, dads and children is having immeasurable impacts in the short, medium and long term. There are currently positive reforms taking place. We are working closely with partners to ensure everyone understands upcoming reforms, what that means for Oldham and how we work collectively to deliver these with the voices of children and families embedded in everything we do. The Families First Partnership Programme is a key component of the reforms, with the clue being in the title, Families First. That's the approach we are all taking. I'd like to thank Karen and the manager, Callie, and Deputy Manager Megan for their hard work in ensuring that the first of 3 residential homes opened last month. I visited the home whilst the work was being done and officially opened it last month. The look and feel is one of a family home, not an institution, and the staff are a part of that environment, of creating that environment. Thank you to all those involved and for the staff that will be supporting our young people. We celebrated the fantastic achievement of our children and young people in the Stars Awards. It was great to see the families taking part in the celebrations. Thank you to Madlow for hosting. As already mentioned, the Council was named Most Improved Council at the LGC Awards 2025. Whilst this is a collective effort across all the services, I'd like to say a special thank you to the fantastic Children's Services team led by Julie Daniels. The strength of our Children's Services was a significant contributory factor to the collective success of this Council. I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Bishop, have you got a question?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Could the Cabinet Member provide an update, please, on the latest developments regarding the local inquiry into historic child sexual exploitation in Oldham, which is to be led by Thomas Crowther KC? Additionally, is the Cabinet Member confident that the powers granted to the Crowther inquiry are sufficient to fully implement the recommendations of the KC report? How is the Council ensuring that these recommendations will be effectively addressed through this process?
Thank you, Councillor Bishop, for your question. The Home Office is currently working at pace to establish the national inquiry as recommended by Baroness Casey in her audit, published on 16th June. The national inquiry will be established under the Inquiries Act 2005 and will comprise a national commission that will initiate local investigations with statutory powers. We are expecting the Home Office to announce further details of the national inquiry shortly and will confirm then what that means for the next steps on a local investigation in Oldham. So more details to follow. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Malik.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can the Cabinet Member confirm how residents can find out about and join with holiday and food activities this summer? What kind of activities will be on offer and who will be eligible? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Malik, and a timely question, given that we're in the final week of term. I can confirm that the Holiday Activities and Food Programme is running again this summer, and it's a fantastic way for children and young people to stay active, healthy and connected during the school holidays. The programme is free for families eligible for benefits-related free school meals, and there's a wide range of activities on offer. Everything from sports, drama and dance to outdoor adventures, arts, crafts and cooking. A healthy meal is provided each day too. Families can find out more and book places online through the Council's website or by searching Oldham HAF, H-A-F. Information is also being shared through schools, children's centres and community partners, so keep an eye out locally. Places are going quickly, so we're encouraging eligible families to get involved and make the most of what's on offer this summer. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Charters.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the report, it references the Airbnb at Castleshaw, which looks to be a brilliant scheme, allowing the council to make money from one of what I think is its best assets. How are we ensuring that Castleshaw remains a facility primarily for young people in the borough?
Thank you for your question, Councillor Charters, and it's an important one because as we're always talking about funding and sustainability, so I think this kind of covers that area. The focus of the work done at Castleshaw will absolutely remain young people focused, with the majority of the adventurous activity continuing to be led by the team. Over 8,000 young people use the centre each year for all types of activity, including walking, hill scrambling, climbing, camping, kayaking, and more recently paddleboarding, to name a few activities. The centre is also available for team building, and as you mentioned, when there is downtime, is taking bookings for Airbnb stays. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Rustage.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The report says 597 children are in the care of the local authority. How many of these children are in a house foster care? And can the Cabinet member explain what the Mockingbird Hub is and how it can help support Oldham's foster carers? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rustage, for your question. So, 54% of children looked after are placed within internal foster care. This is a number that is comparatively higher than our statistical neighbours. And it's important that we are constantly working within Oldham and across Greater Manchester to increase the number of foster carers, because it is important that when children do come into care, they're in a homely environment, which makes a huge difference. With regards to the Mockingbird, it's a well-established evidence-based initiative designed to support foster carers providing advice and respite from an experienced hub carer who links up with up to 8 other foster carer placements. The initiative is designed to support foster carers and provides an extra layer of support to prevent placement breakdowns. Oldham is progressing well with their Mockingbird project, with 2 hub carers established and supporting foster families. A third has recently been acquired, and we will hopefully be launching the 3rd Mockingbird. And again, that's providing sustainability, and in terms of placement stability, it's providing support. I guess all of us with our children, we have extended families, so it's effectively providing an extended family for those in foster care, not only for the children and young people, but also for the carers, because they need that support as well. And it's worked really well. I've spoken directly to those involved in it. The Mayor himself has attended the launch, I believe, and yeah, it's really powerful and it's having the desired impact. So looking forward to the third one. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the end of that section. So could I invite Councillor Barbara Brownridge, Cabinet Member for Adults, Health and Wellbeing.
Yeah, point of order, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. I'd like to move a motion to suspend standing orders, please, on the basis that when the current system of questions to Leader and Cabinet was introduced, we were told that the format was introduced in the way it was to allow for more questions, and we were reassured, I objected to the format, but we were reassured that no more than 3 Cabinet members would ever speak on their report, so that there was plenty of time for questions. We were told that was absolutely going to be the case. Now, it wasn't written in to the Constitution because you just insisted it would be fine, we will stick to this, but we're ending up in the position where this is just becoming a talking shop for the Cabinet. On that basis, I would like to suspend standing orders and request that the Cabinet members move their report, because everything they need to tell us should be in there, and then get to questions. Thank you.
Yeah, so just to clarify that position, we have 4 minutes for a speech and 6 minutes for questions. So even if we move away from not having moving our report and speaking to our report, it's still only left with that amount of time. So I'm not sure where you got that impression from, because it's quite clear in the Constitution how it's broken down.
I will not take that recommendation off you at the moment, but we will discuss this outside of the meeting.
Sorry, it's been moved and seconded. Is there a reason why it's not gone to a vote?
The option is we take that under consideration.
Okay, if you wish to put it to a vote, I will do, but I was going to take it for consideration.
Point, Mr. Mayor, we're breaking standing orders, I believe, if we don't.
No, it was an option that, to take it outside of the meeting, but we'll take it to the vote. That's fine. So, those in favour of what Councillor Alan Darmy has moved? And against? $30 against, so we'll carry on as we were doing.
Well, I feel very intimidated now, because I intended to say nothing whatsoever about my report. But as you started off, I am going to just say two very short things. One is a long report there about oral health. I just want to emphasise that we are taking adults into this now, because we are concerned that adults, particularly in care homes, if their oral hygiene is neglected, there are serious consequences. And secondly, on the CQC, there's a very throwaway remark about us getting the information in a very tight timescale. That involved the submission of something like 275 documents. So I just want to record my really sincere and deep thanks to the staff who worked really, really hard to get that done. And I think we all have to recognise how much work they put in to comply with that timescale. Other than that, I have nothing else to add. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We'll use the full 10 minutes then, know what's left of it. So, Councillor Ibrahim.
You were correct in the first place.
No, as long as I get to my measles question, I'm happy.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Given the recent rise in measles cases across the North West, could the Cabinet member please outline what support and action plans are in place to assist healthcare professionals in identifying individuals who have not been vaccinated?
Sorry, Councillor Brownridge to respond.
Thank you. That wasn't the measles question I was expecting. I've got another measles question. So the answer is... I forgot what the question was now. The answer is... Yeah. Well, no. I don't want to answer. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll conflate the two questions and answer them together. That's going to be the separate thing. So, measles, highly, highly infectious. Highly infectious. We can't stop it spreading, but we have a duty as members of society for protecting people as best we can, and we do that by getting vaccinated. So I bang my drum again, and I would point out that any adult in this chamber can request their vaccination history from their doctor, and if their vaccinations aren't up to date, please go and sort that out. It's really, really important. The World Health Organization recommends that we need 95% vaccinations to deliver herd immunity, which I know is a bit of a difficult concept now after COVID, but genuine herd immunity, 95%. We were close to that before COVID. We are well behind now. Not just us, this is a national issue. The latest figures for Oldham, which date from January, show the uptake of the second dose. I just have to read this because I don't know it off by heart. The second dose in Oldham for 5-year-olds is 87.5%. It's an increase from the year before. It's slightly better than the GM average. But again, I reiterate the point, it's not just children that need to be vaccinated, it's also adults. We have had an outbreak recently that constituted 7 cases. The majority of those were children who were too young to be vaccinated. So this again reinforces the point that their families and the wider community have to be vaccinated, protect children that we can't protect through vaccination. So that's really important, and that our outbreak is now over. I have to say, I think we've done really well. I think we have done really well, because obviously we know there's been a very serious outbreak in Liverpool. We know tragically a child died there. So we are doing well, but we're not doing well enough. Now, in terms of the question that was asked from the Oldham group, that is also very important. The problem with measles is the symptoms are very similar to lots of other symptoms that children get. So it's really important that everybody, caregivers and our care providers, including GPs, are very, very sensitive to the need to keep an eye open for those. So we are supporting them across the piece with advice on how to do that. And we are working very hard to improve vaccination rates. What I would put in a plea, it would be really good if pharmacists were allowed to inoculate outside their premises. At the moment, they can inoculate in their premises, but not outside. And if they could inoculate in family hubs, because one of the issues about taking up vaccination is it's quite hard. If you're a mother and you've got kids in school and you've got a job, actually getting your child to an appointment isn't always very easy. So we need to, and we are trying to extend the opportunities for vaccinations across the piece as best we can. But it is, I just reiterate again, please make sure you've done your bit to protect our children and everybody else. Thank you, and I'm sorry if I've used up my 6 minutes.
Councillor Davis.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. It's excellent that Oldham does not have a waiting list for care at home services. How will the council maintain or improve that record during the transition to the new commissioning framework? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Davis. Now, we are very proud that we don't have a waiting list. And I have to say, well, my staff tell me, this is on the strength of our commissioning model that we introduced in 2019 and the dedication of our social care teams and our commitment to our local providers with whom we have a very good relationship. We do need to re-tender our services because the contract is due to expire next year, but it provides an opportunity to approach the local market. And as we move into the new commissioning framework, we will build on the existing model that works really well, but we'll introduce improvements that include sustaining our close partnerships with providers, retaining our commitment to the real living wage, and I think that's a very significant difference that we've made in this sector, maintaining flexibility in our model, which allows us to respond quickly to changes in needs and demands, strengthening monitoring and oversight so we can intervene early if pressures emerge, for example, from hospital discharge. We want to ensure social value and benefit to Oldham is realised in communities across the borough by maximising positive social, economic and environmental impacts on residents in the local area. We continue to develop care at home services because that's really important, and to work with our health partners to expand the blended role service offered. We're confident that we'll continue to deliver responsive, person-centred care at home with no or little waiting list and a strong, supported workforce. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Brownridge. That's the time gone on that part of the meeting. Just a comment now, but we've had some concerns raised about the timings, and that is really for a conversation at the Constitutional Working Group rather than at this meeting. So we need to set them outside of the meeting, and we'll take them forward and come to some sort of decision. But moving on, could I invite Councillor Mohan Ali, Cabinet Member for Education and Skills, to present his report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm pleased to present an update on education and skills since our last council meeting, an area where we are not only making progress, but we are leading from the front. Let me start with a bold step we've taken. Oldham is proud to be the first borough in Greater Manchester to invest in the groundbreaking Mega Hub programme, powered by Info Group and backed by global tech leaders like IBM, Microsoft, Kinetic and Roke. It gives our students direct access to digital and tech careers, one of the UK's fastest growing sectors. This, along with our Cyber First programme, is part of our mission to grow talent and ambition. The energy and drive at the launch event were a powerful reminder of what's possible when we bring education and industry together. And speaking of recognition, I'm delighted that Oldham Council was named Most Improved Council at this year's LGC Awards. Our education outcomes played a key role in that success, thanks to improved standards and record-breaking school performance. This is a team effort, and I want to thank every teacher, leader, governor and parent across our borough. We're also stepping up our support for families. From September 2026, all children with a parent on universal credit will be eligible for free school meals, helping tackle hunger and ease pressure at home. Oldham is also among the first areas to roll out the National Breakfast Club scheme, now running in 7 local schools. This is improving attendance, saving families up to £450 a year, and making sure our children start their day ready to learn. A strong start in life is critical, and we recently held a well-attended early years transition event to support children moving from nursery to primary. It was wonderful to see the commitment of our early years staff, schools and parents in building children's confidence. For children with special educational needs, we're delivering more than 250 new specialist school places through our Send Capital programme. And now a quick words on the arts. The Oldham Music Centre Youth Brass Band achieved incredible success on Whit Friday, winning prizes at all 7 contests they entered, including 5 first place awards. A huge well done to everyone involved. We continue to support our young people through the Empower Oldham programme, which helps 15 to 19-year-olds not in education, employment or training to rebuild their confidence and plan for the future. Earlier this month, we welcomed Professor Brian Cox back to Oldham. He spent 2 days promoting careers in science, technology, engineering and maths, which is part of our wider vision to align education with green growth, innovation and real job opportunities for local people. We're proud to be hosting another major careers event and jobs fair later this year. Finally, I'm pleased to report that Ofsted inspections this term have continued to show strong results. Schools across the borough, from Oldham Academy North to Lyndhurst Primary, have been praised for high expectations, inclusive practices and ambitious curriculums. Special congratulations to Newbridge School, which retained its outstanding rating. As we wrap the academic year, I want to offer my heartfelt thanks to everyone working in education, early years and skills development. Your dedication continues to make a real difference in the lives of our children, young people and families. Council is asked to note the report, and I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Harrison?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The rollout of universal free school meals and the National Breakfast Club is clearly a welcome step in tackling child hunger and supporting families. However, with only 7 schools currently offering free breakfast in Oldham, how do you plan to ensure this initiative reaches all eligible children across the borough, particularly those in areas of highest deprivation? And what early evidence is there that it's having the desired impact on attendance and attainment? Thank you.
Councillor Ali.
Thank you for that important question, Councillor Harrison. You're absolutely right. While the early rollout of the National Breakfast Club to 7 schools in Oldham is a really positive step, it's only the beginning. These initial schools were chosen strategically to test delivery models and measure impact. and what we're already seeing is very encouraging. Schools are reporting improved punctuality, calmer starts to the day, and better engagement in morning lessons. For some families, the savings are up to £450 a year, are also making a real difference in the cost of living crisis. But we're not stopping there. Our ambition is to scale this across the borough, prioritising areas with the highest levels of deprivation and where the need is the greatest. We're already working with head teachers, governors, and our partners in public health to identify next phase schools and ensure we have the infrastructure in place to support them. In terms of universal free schools meals for families on universal credit from 2026, we're preparing now to ensure a smooth rollout, working closely with schools, catering providers and community partners to make sure no child misses out. This is about more than food, it's about dignity, equality and giving every child the best possible start. Oldham is proud to be at the forefront of this national initiative and will keep pushing to ensure no child in our borough starts the day hungry. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Harkness.
Thank you, Mr. Bear, and I welcome the initiative you've just been talking about there. So my question is, as a leader of a resource provision, I welcome the introduction of a resource provision, send units and alternative provisions highlighted in the June Cabinet minutes. The cost of this project appears to exceed what I have experienced in similar schemes in Manchester. Could you please provide a breakdown of the costs? Is the plan to build new extensions rather than regeneration of the existing buildings? What will the criteria be for these provisions? Will students require an EHCP and will be available for young people across the borough, or is it for local catchment areas of the individual schools? And I thank the Director for Education for contacting me for further clarity on this in advance. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Ali.
Thank you, Councillor Harkness, for your question and for your ongoing support for the development of a resource provision in Oldham. These new developments are an important part of our strategy to expand inclusive education and improve outcomes for children and young people with additional needs. We have an extensive capital programme of which the 3 projects you have inquired about form part. In terms of the breakdown of costs, the cost for the development of these provisions vary by site, reflecting differences in building conditions, required adaptation and scale of provision. We will provide you with a more detailed site-specific breakdown in writing for all 3 projects agreed at Cabinet on the 9th of June. In terms of the new extensions against regeneration, across the wider programme, we are seeking to adapt and reconfigure existing school buildings. However, in several cases, extensions or modular builds are not necessary. In terms of the admission criteria and the EHCP requirement you've mentioned, children placed in these provisions will require an educational health and care plan, and placements will be made via the local authorities' SEND panel. In terms of the access and catchment that you've asked about, places in all provisions will be centrally commissioned and allocated via Oldham's SEND placement process. They are borough-wide provisions, not restricted to local school catchment areas. This ensures equitable access based on assessed need rather than postcode.
Thank you. Councillor Quigg.
There we are, we're working. Excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Ali, you've got the question in advance, but I will just add to it because I have got your response. The school that I was particularly looking at, in terms of the fact that English is not the first language that is spoken, is at Burnley Brow, where only 97% basically don't have English as a first language. And that, to me, and as per your response acknowledges, which puts extra pressure on teachers and other facility providers in doing what essentially should be providing good education for all and not excluding those who should have the same quality of education. And it's taken an FOI across the country to expose this, thanks to the Daily Mail. And my question is, what are we putting in place to improve English language, or better still, encouraging that it's spoken in the first place rather than it being left at the school gates?
Councillor Ali.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the question, Councillor Quigg. It's not something that I've covered in my report, but I mean, when you say, in terms of sort of extra pressures in school, I'm not sure about that, to be honest. Although, I mean, I can tell you this. That yes, you sort of said, Burnley Brow. There are a lot of children, going to Burnley Brow from the ethnic minority communities, mainly the Bangladeshi community. Although the parents, statistically, are of the Bangladeshi origin, but I can assure you that most children who actually attend that school actually, even at the early years, speak English, And
Councillor Ali.
And
Councillor, could you do put that reply in writing, please? Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Could I invite Councillor Peter Dean, Cabinet Member for Culture and Leisure, to present his report?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll just point out one or two highlights in the report, and it's great to see the great joint working between Oldham Theatre Workshop and the Coliseum in creating opportunities for young people to qualify in technical theatre skills. I think this is a great initiative and one that we hope carries on. And secondly, I'd like to mention the fantastic work in our libraries and galleries team, who put on so many different elements, so many educational elements within the library, exhibitions, festivals. They was very active in Festival Oldham, and I'd like to give them my sincere thanks for all the activities that are actually taking place. And when you look at it, it amounts to about 3 or 4 different initiatives every single week for a small team. So I'd like to congratulate them on the work they do and give my thanks. In sports and leisure, 25 community champions enjoyed training around physical activities. And the great thing is that the training was focused on them going back into their communities and giving their experiences and their, hopefully, health input to local communities. Over 1,000 people benefit from the workforce health checks carried out by Active Oldham in partnership with the council, which I think is a fantastic result that we got. And lastly, I'd like to conclude with the summer activities that are taking place, which are very, very significant right across the sporting and leisure spectrum. Active Oldham, or OCL, are providing, jointly with the council, a lot of free opportunities for children to take up swimming, to go to gymnasiums, and also to join clubs, and so many different activities are taking place. And as Councillor Shahid said, there's an enormous amount on the website, and we do hope people will take advantage of what's there, because it is a really good offer that is probably the best offer in Greater Manchester. And I'll conclude with that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Iqbal, you have a question.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The free gym and swim offer for 14 and 16-year-olds is fantastic. Is there an intention to continue or expand this beyond summer during other school holidays? Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Dean. Yes, the free gym and swim pass for 14 to 16-year-olds rolls out again this summer for those eligible to attend half provision. This offer has been available for over a year and will continue in the foreseeable future. The passes also include access to fitness classes at any Oldham active site. The passes are active for 2 months and are renewed when activated, meaning that access to gym, swim classes are funded for the whole of the year.
Thank you. Councillor Marland.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Could the Cabinet Member please give an update on the work being done to progress getting the Diggle Clock Tower and loom works back into use? We had an update some time ago, but we've not heard anything recently. This community asset had been funding ring fenced to eventually bring this back into future use as part of the Saddleworth School moving to the Diggle site. So can you please confirm that all this funding is still available for the eventual future use of this listed building? Thank you.
I've got an answer for you, but this does sit in the leader's portfolio, and the leader loves this building, and she's constantly raising it and asking for updates on where we're up to, because we all agree the building deserves proper use. What I can say is this programme of works has been undertaken to stabilise the fabric of the building. Refurbishment proposals are still under consideration, and engagement with the school is ongoing as to any future potential use of building. Obviously, given the close proximity to Saddleworth School, there are safeguarding issues that need to be taken into account with regard to the future use. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Arnott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Dean, taking his question. All swimming pools in Royton Leisure Centre will close for approximately 5 weeks on the 4th of August. That's pretty much the entirety of the summer school holidays. Some people in here of a certain age, like myself, will probably remember spending most of the school holidays in a local swimming pool. They're closing for what's classed as essential maintenance. Please, can you tell us what the nature of the maintenance is? Obviously, if it's planned maintenance, it couldn't be planned any worse. If it's emergency maintenance and repairs, could you outline what the problem is? Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Unfortunately, the lining of the pool has gone, and over the last few months, the pool has been limited to only half use, and the lining element that needs repairing is as well as the length of the pool. It's the step section as well, so it is an emergency repair. We tried to get onto it as quickly as possible, and unfortunately, the soonest it could be done, like Councillor Arnott has said, is starting on the 4th of August, and obviously we hope that work will probably take less than the 5 weeks indicated, but it's something that really can't be avoided. It is essential to actually keep the pool open and running for the future. So it's not programme maintenance. This is something that has cropped up as an emergency and needs doing quickly. And we're doing that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We still have 2 minutes left in this section, if anybody's got any more questions. No? Could I invite Councillor Fida Hussain, Cabinet Member for Enterprise, to present his report?
Yeah, happy to move the report as printed, Mr. Mayor. It might make some people happy.
Councillor Kenyon? Oh, no, sorry. It's, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As mentioned, I'm asking this on behalf of Councillor Kenyon. The Labour government's belated U-turn on the welfare bill after significant political pressure is very welcome news. Does the Cabinet Member agree that it's regrettable that the government chose to target people on in-work benefits rather than focus on energy giants, social media companies or water bosses? What steps is the Council taking to strengthen access to welfare for those who need it most, including pensioners and people living with disabilities? Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to the Cabinet Member.
Am I okay to go ahead, Mr. Mayor? Yeah, thank you. I take a discussion is from Councillor Kenyon. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. While the national policy decisions are ultimately for the government, here in Oldham, we focus on ensuring residents who need support, including those on low incomes with disabilities and older people, get practical help they thrive for. Through Get Oldham Working, we provide wraparound support, including skills, training, therapy, and in-work progression. We're also working closely with disability employment advisors at the Job Centre and developing projects like the Trailblazer programme and MEA, which aims to relaunch the subsidised jobs for the people with disabilities. Furthermore, our approach combined employment, health and welfare advice too, so people can access the right support at the right time when they need it, including pensioners, carers and those furthest away from the labour market. The Council also supports through the Welfare Rights Team to make sure that the residents are able to access the benefits to which they are entitled to.
Thank you, Councillor Rashid. Hussain.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The feedback from people who have used Get Oldham working is powerful and shows the impact that the council has on people's lives when dealing with difficult circumstances. Is there any way we can get feedback from employees to see Get Oldham working has supported them too?
Councillor Sain's reply.
Thank you. Can I thank Councillor Saj for his question? We are incredibly proud of the feedback we receive from individuals who have been supported by the Get Oldham working team, especially those who have overcome significant personal challenges to move into training or into employment. But you're absolutely right, employers are a vital part of the success story, and their feedback is just as important. And alongside the positive feedback that the residents provide for us, we've also had strong feedback from local employers about the impact of Get Oldham working. We provide free recruitment support, host sector-based training academies, and run bespoke job fairs to help employers find job ready for the candidates. One care home manager told us we hired 10 people in a month from Get Oldham working. We supported Signa Kenny House to fill 135 roles and continue to help employers with staff retention, well-being and wraparound support like therapy and coaching. We're also working with schools, NHS and exploring 700 new jobs through Iceland's relocation, which is good news for us. Our approach was praised during our recent matrix accreditation, where the assessor highlighted the strength of our employer partnerships. We also welcome any suggestions or ideas on how we can further enhance our feedback processes, including gathering more insights from employers to continue improving our offer. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Harrison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The fall in unemployment is very welcome. Can the Cabinet Member explain more about the work done by the Restart programme and Vanguard? Who takes part and what do the programmes offer? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Harrison, for her question. The fall in unemployment has seen 420 fewer universal credit claimants. That's great news. Since March of this year, which is always welcoming news for us all. Programs like Restart and Vanguard have helped in supporting residents back into work. The Restart program supports residents who've been out of work for 9 or more months, offering personalised help with job searching, CVs, interviews and well-being. Participants have contact at least every 2 weeks, often weekly, with workshops and tailored support. The aim is for 36% of participants to earn over £5,000 verified through HMRC. The Vanguard programme, Councillor Harrison, focuses on residents in work but struggling. It offers one-to-one coaching, access to 26 weeks of therapy, gym passes and strong links with Oldham social prescribing. The goal is to help people stay in work, improve well-being and progress their careers further. Both programs are about more than just finding a job. They're about helping people build skills, overcome obstacles in the way, and move towards a better future at their own pace. And we're seeing real success stories across our borough as a result. Thank you.
Thank you. We now move to Councillor Chris Goodwin. Could I invite him to present his report?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, throughout the year, the Highway Service proactively inspects the over 800 kilometres of adopted highways according to a planned, risk-assessed and prioritised regime in accordance with national standards. In addition, officers also inspect roads and footpaths in response to resident and councillor concerns. Where repairs are needed, these are undertaken in line with national guidance and to agreed engineering standards. In addition, the Council continues to deliver the Capital Delivery Scheme, and all schemes marked for delivery in 24-25 were completed. The programme for 25-26 is being finalised, and once approved will be delivered before the end of March 26. The specific details are not yet public, as they need to be agreed by Cabinet. As previously stated, investment in transport across Greater Manchester will benefit Oldham with more electric buses and a more joined-up transport network, and I look forward to seeing that develop. Members will also be aware of our successful school street schemes, which encourage pupils of schools and their parents to take up more walking, cycling and scooting. I can inform Council that we have been awarded a further £120,000 in order to continue expanding this worthwhile scheme. I also attended the GMCA-led Vision Zero conference, and I'm exploring options and schemes which further our approach locally in this campaign. For example, officers are currently working on trials to adopt 20-mile-an-hour zones in some residential areas, and these will be rolled out following the necessary processes. Finally, the Council started a new programme last September which will ensure the 48,000 gullies across the borough are inspected and cleaned. This is a capital investment of £120,000, and this programme is ongoing. In those 9 months, approximately 18,000 gullies have been cleaned. As part of this exercise, gullies which need to be repaired are being picked up and fixed to ensure they are operating correctly. In addition, additional visits take place to gullies known to block frequently, either by soil runoff or leaf fall. This is to ensure that all reasonable steps are taken for highway safety and surface water management, and especially in locations where property flooding is a risk. Happy to take questions, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I call on Councillor Alan Downey to ask his question.
Transport and highways. Sorry, I was on a different question. The government has put forward plans to invest in regional transport infrastructure, but as yet, nothing of any solid plans for high-feed infrastructure between the Liverpool to Manchester section and the Hull to East Yorkshire section. What will Oldham Council be doing to ensure that plans do not reduce the number of trains running to the already underserved stations in and around Oldham, including those in Saddleworth? And note that the plans so far just say sometime in the 2040s, and that's it.
Thank you for your question. I agree that national plans for high-speed rail have had fluctuating commitments, and Oldham Council has been actively working to protect and enhance local transport links through its transport strategy and delivery plan. Oldham's transport strategy aligns with Greater Manchester's 2040 vision, aiming for connections that support sustainable growth and equitable access. So, while high-speed links between Liverpool and Hull remain uncertain, Oldham Council is actively working to ensure that local stations like Greenfield are not left behind and, where possible, are better served in the future.
Thank you. Councillor Akhtar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chris, you've probably guessed what my question is going to be. You've informed us how many gullies have been cleaned across the borough, but I asked the question back in April, and as ward councils, we're still waiting for information in terms of which gullies in a certain ward have been cleaned and which ones are still left. And I've been asking that for the last 7 months.
You have, and I've had that conversation with officers, and I'll have it again. Okay, and I'll try and get back to you.
Councillor Aslam.
Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The new EV charging infrastructure strategy is a welcome development, but how will you ensure equitable access across wards, particularly in areas without off-street parking? Thank you.
Again, thank you for your question. The Council is acutely aware of the challenges that we face in part of Oldham regarding pavement parking, limited off-street parking and EV charging facilities. We are working with our GMCA colleagues and other districts areas who are facing similar issues to find solutions to work through this. We're also awaiting an announcement later this week from the Department of Transport, which may assist us with new solutions to these concerns. As the announcement is expected to include £25 million funding to allow cross-pavement charging solutions, this is a huge development in the nationally agreed highway standards and will allow residents without driveways to safely run cables beneath pavements for home charging access. There's also the promise of modernised EV signage on major roads, grants for depot charging and support for NHS fleet electrification, all as part of a broader £63 million investment to accelerate EV infrastructure nationwide.
Thank you. Councillor Iqbal.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Given the significant number of streets visited and inspections conducted, are there opportunities to share the practice inspections data with residents to demonstrate improvements? Thank you. Sorry.
Thanks for the question. So throughout the year, the Highway Service proactively inspects over 800 kilometres of adopted highways. As stated earlier, I won't repeat the rest. This results in all adopted road streets being visited as a matter of course, with inspection regimes on a monthly, 3-monthly and annually, depending on the assessed category of the road. For example, in the last financial year, over 3,750 kilometres of network has been inspected by the Council's inspection team, equating to 8,588 streets. This extensive regime of planned inspections, when combined with ad hoc inspections because of member public inquiries, results in constant and ongoing repairs to the highway to ensure the continued safety of our community. The data from these inspections, together with annual condition inspections, speed and traffic survey volumes, inform the capital programme progress, leading to targeted use of resources to improve the highway condition. And I will review your request to provide better visibility of this data as part of the review of performance reporting.
Thank you. Councillor Hamblett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, Councillor, you sound a bit like a rail announcement there. This is in regards to IX Wireless, which is currently under investigation by Ofcom. Rochdale Council have poles installed by them removed as of Bolton, while the Internet Service Provider Association have set out guidance for companies to follow when installing poles. IX Wireless are not a member. There have been health and safety issues with IX Wireless work in Oldham, and the company have refused to respond to concerns from both residents and local councillors. When will Oldham Council do the right thing, support residents in stopping this company from having apparently a free rein to do what they like on our streets? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So, for some time now, the Council has recognised both resident and member concerns regarding IX Wireless operations. From a planning perspective, IX Wireless have generally followed proper process and applied for prior approval for their masts before installing them. I understand this has not always been the case in Bolton and Rochdale, which has led to some IX Wireless masts being removed. However, the vast majority of IX Wireless infrastructure involves telegraph poles, which do not require planning permission, and so local authorities cannot require their removal under planning legislation. From a highways permit perspective, where issue...
Time is up. Could you put the reply in writing, please?
Will do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
We will now move on to item 10, Notice of Administration Business, for which we have 30 minutes. Motion 1 relates to Article 4.1, Direction on Small Houses in Multiple Occupation, HMOs for short. I call on Councillor Hinds to move and Councillor Hindle to second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Oldham Council on its recent award for the most improved council. Now, this isn't a political award, let's be honest. It's more testament to the hard work that officers and employees do. So thanks for that. I'd like to extend my thanks regarding this motion to the Failsworth Independent Party and to the administration for working closely with us on it, and of course to the administration for hosting it. Now, the truth is, I don't think there's... sorry, Sam, you've got your hand up. Do you want to...
I'm indicating to the Mayor to speak.
Oh, sorry, I thought you wanted to. That's fine, thank you. There's no doubt we're in the midst of a housing crisis, you know, with this government and in previous governments, and there's just a complete lack of a drawn-up strategy. We've seen that with PFE, where it's greed over need. The PFE is obviously something, despite others giving up on it, we'll be fighting to continue the fight against that. And it's brought a range of problems, this housing crisis. Unaffordability, unavailability, I'd even say tragedy with things like Grenfell, but also the explosion of HMOs, or as I prefer to call them, poverty farms, nothing more, nothing less. It is undoubted how these HMOs have affected local communities, with residents feel disenfranchised and excluded with what's going on in their very town. And not only that, I feel a great sadness for the people who are having to live in today's society in such conditions. It's almost Dickensian in my view. The truth is, the power in planning legislation lies with the developers. So any mechanism which empowers residents and the local authority to manage and give residents a say through a planning process is much needed and well overdue. And I believe, and so do my colleagues, that the implementation of Article 4 is a necessary step in providing that. Now, from day one, the Shore and Crompton Independents have been campaigning against the widespread use and deployment of HMOs with little or no consultation. In fact, that's the reason me and my colleague Lisa met over this subject. So after, I would say, about 2 to 3 years, I am really, really pleased we're now in a position where we feel we can get consensus on this issue. Now, we sat down with the administration and like I say, the Failsworth Independent Party, and it wasn't just a simple ask like some people in the chamber is. There's a lot of work that goes on behind it and a lot of resource. There is no magic wand. So after we finally agreed, and you've got to understand and respect, then the clue's on the tin, Shore and Crompton Independents. Although we do work for the wider borough, our main aim is for the people of Shore and Crompton, and I think that is pertinent to our friends over in Failsworth. So after we got agreement on our initial motion, there were further discussions which took place and further developments, which the administration came back and said, look, we can work harder on this, we can put resources to it, and we can get it extended borough-wide. Now, that is something I fully support. So not only will obviously we be supporting our own motion, we'll be supporting the amendment. And this really demonstrates for us action, not talk, not words, action. We've worked with people we don't always agree with, but we have got a consensus. So I would ask everyone in the chamber to not only vote for our motion, but also the administration's amendment. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Hindle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I rise to second this motion with a deep sense of responsibility to the people of Failsworth, who have made their voices heard loud and clear over the last year. I've spoken to countless residents at community meetings, on doorsteps and through emails and phone calls, and the message has been consistent and heartfelt. Our neighbourhoods are changing and not always for the better. People are worried. They're worried about the unchecked rise in HMOs that are appearing without any local input or oversight. Failsworth is proud, close-knit community. We look out for one another, but then the family homes are converted into HMOs without consultation. It disrupts the balance of our streets. It puts pressure on parking, on waste collection, on local services, and most importantly, it can undermine the sense of community that makes Failsworth such a special place to live. This motion is not about opposing people who need housing. It's about ensuring that housing is safe, suitable and developed in a way that respects the character of our communities. It's about closing a loophole that allows developers to bypass the planning process, leaving residents with no say and no recourse. By prioritising Failsworth residents and listening to what they've asked for, we are saying that local voices matter and that we will not allow our communities to be reshaped without the consent of the people who live in them. Residents aren't asking for the world, they're asking for fairness, they're asking for the system that listens to them. This motion delivers that. Let's be clear, this is not about politics, it's about people, it's about protecting the integrity of our neighbourhoods and ensuring that the development is done with care, not just for profit. So I proudly second this motion, and I urge the members of this council to support it, not just for Failsworth, but to show it can be done in every community across the borough that deserves a voice in shaping its future. Thank you.
Thank you. We have received 3 amendments which we will deal with in order. I will take Amendment 1 first. I call upon Councillor Elaine Taylor to move and Councillor Peter Davis to second the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is an important motion and one that we have hosted because we understand the importance of building consensus around this issue. I'm grateful to our Shaw and Failsworth independent colleagues for supporting this amendment because this is a matter for all residents right across the borough, and so I hope every member in this chamber will endorse and support the amendment too. We all know that HMOs are an issue that affect many boroughs across the land, not least here in Oldham. This chamber has long called for improvements to how HMOs are granted, as well as expressing the desire that there should be more local control and influence over the numbers and types of HMOs in our borough. And tonight's motion does just that. I know, given the 2 other amendments submitted to this council meeting, that many elected members across the chamber feel strongly and support these calls too. This is, however, a complex area. The last time this matter was debated in the chamber was in April, and since then officers have been working diligently on gathering data and information. That work continues and they are due to report back to council in September. However, that shouldn't stop us from taking what action we can now. Let me be really clear. We on these benches have never been opposed to the idea of issuing an Article 4 direction, but we have always been of the opinion that we wouldn't succeed. However, it is now apparent from the research that officers have conducted that it is becoming more common for local authorities to successfully apply for an Article 4 direction, requiring planning permission for those smaller HMOs across an entire borough, even where the data in those authorities does not suggest any significantly greater issues than we are facing here in Oldham. In some cases, these have followed the introduction of a direction covering specific areas, but these Article 4 directions have subsequently led to concerns that they simply push the issue out to surrounding areas, and that is something we want to avoid at all costs. We don't need to wait until our officers conclude their work to move forward on issues where we know we can make progress. And by pursuing this technical change, all HMOs, regardless of size and regardless of where they are, will require planning permission and will be subject to local planning policies. Because in the absence of this, the council has no control over the number, concentration or management arrangements that relate to HMOs of that size. Using planning in this way is exactly what the system is there for, and is very much in line with the government's aim to make planning work for the people and not the other way round. However, we must also not lose sight of the fact that HMOs are an important part of our housing mix, and they always will be. There is a genuine need that exists in the borough for shared accommodation, but we want that housing offer to evolve in a controlled and managed way. Although HMOs often have a poor reputation, and understandably so, they also have a role to play in making sure that we have the homes that many Oldhamers desperately need. So we must do all that we can to ensure that HMOs are of good quality and responsive to that local need. Whether a young person who will find it helpful to have other young people to live with as they start their careers, or the individual whose relationship has broken down and for whom HMOs are the only affordable option to avoid homelessness. But too often, HMOs are not of the quality that they need to be in Oldham. That's not good for the resident and it's not good for our borough. This route will allow us to have more of a say using planning in a smart way to benefit all residents. We are building great homes in Oldham. Quality homes, affordable homes, homes with good transport links for work, homes with the amenities that our residents need. We're not a HMO borough, but we are a borough with our fair share. And they need to be good quality, the right size and in the right location. This amendment helps that to happen, so I urge all members to vote for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Very well timed. Councillor Davis.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I rise to second Councillor Taylor's Labour amendments on this HMO motion. We believe we have some good enhancements to this motion and we feel it will make it stronger. HMOs are one of the biggest contentious issues in my ward in Failsworth West and borough-wide. I have long called for an Article 4 direction. Now with the fairly recent change in government, we feel we have a better chance of getting this over the line. I hope you can all get behind our amendments for this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Does any member wish to speak on the amendment? Two members have already indicated. Councillor Al-Hamdani.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to start with thank you for bringing this motion forward, but I really don't think that we should be having to go through this when we have already agreed to go ahead with this. Let's start with the good thing, the amendment. Welcome the amendment. It should cover the whole of Oldham. That makes sense. Absolutely fine. The real question for me is, why are we in the situation where we're having to debate this again, go through a motion and 3 amendments just to get to a point that we've all agreed we should already be at? We passed a motion on HMOs in April, and we wrote to the local MPs, we wrote to Angela Rayner about exactly this issue. But that's not the first time that we've done that. We passed a motion on it November 2023, and that was the one where we said specifically we should start working on this with a view to having an Article 4 direction. So we've been working on this for nearly 2 years with no progress until this motion came forward. I don't really understand why we don't have any evidence of that work. It's not been presented to council. It's not been put forward as part of the amendment. None of that seems to have appeared. We just seem to have sat on it for nearly 2 years. Well, I'm glad we finally got to the point that we all agreed on nearly 2 years ago. But that wasn't the first motion that came forward. The motion came forward, I believe, from the Conservatives the year before, November 2022, complaining about exactly this and this problem. And that wasn't the first time that it came to council. With Councillor Sykes, a year before that, we put in a submission to the local plan saying there should be an Article 4 direction. So we've had so much commitment to this, so many times when this has been raised. I don't understand, while I completely agree with implementing this, as the motion gets, why we're still wasting our time going through motions, and we are literally going through the motions, to get to something we've already agreed. I mean, I really do feel like I'm just banging my head against a brick wall. And in Oldham, if you're banging your head against a brick wall, there's probably an HMO on the other side of it. It's just a joke, and I would be embarrassed. I genuinely would be embarrassed. So I contacted Councillor Taylor ahead of this meeting about the report that was requested in the motion in April 2025. And the response was, there hasn't been enough time for the officers to have put that together. Well, they've been working on it since we agreed the motion in November 2023. It's not been 3 months that they've had to compile a report. It's been nearly 2 years. Now, I don't understand why we're sitting here debating this without the information from that report. That surely should be informing this amendment, this motion, and everything that we're doing. And the only thing that I can see that means that the officers haven't presented that report is a lack of political will on behalf of the administration. Because I have a lot of time for our officers. I think there's some of them that are excellent at their jobs. And particularly, I have a very good relationship with some of the officers who would be dealing with this. I think they do some excellent work. So why in 2 years would they not have been able to present a report on this? The only thing I can think is that the administration really didn't care. And I'm sad that that's the outcome of this. And if there's a good reason for that, I'd love to hear it. But what comes across is that this is just a bandwagon attempt to jump on this at the point at which we're actually going to achieve something. And this administration has got a long reputation for voting down opposition motions on some incredibly important issues, and then at the point at which everything changes, they jump on that bandwagon and suddenly blame everybody else. Move extension? Move extension. Absolutely. Jump on that bandwagon and then blame other people. And in particular, the number of times when opposition members are told they're making things political. I'm sorry, that is simply not the case. That comes from the administration.
Councillor Oldham, that's your time. Thank you. Councillor Akhtar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Similar to Councillor Hamdani, I welcome the amendment, and it's a sensible approach to cover the whole of the borough rather than cherry picking by some members. But however, I do have some concerns about the rhetoric used by the mover of the initial motion itself, calling HMOs as poverty farms. That's demeaning the individuals. And did I interrupt you when you were speaking?
Can we somebody speaking, please be.
Right, reply.
No, not whilst I'm speaking. No,
at the end.
I've not even finished yet. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Calling HMOs as poverty farms, that's actually demeaning the individuals and families that actually live in these residential properties out of no choice whatsoever. Vast majority of the HMO landlords are proud of their development. However, there are some that need to be dealt with, and rightly so. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Iqbal.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to take this opportunity to strongly support the call for an Article 4, particularly in light of the situation in my ward, where we've seen one of the most increases in HMOs across Oldham. This is not just about numbers on a spreadsheet, it's about the real impact on the local residents. People in our communities are telling us loud and clear the character of their neighbourhood is changing, and not all for the better. Let me be clear, HMOs do have a role to play in meeting housing needs. They can offer affordable accommodations and flexibility for many people. But the current level in some of our most affected areas is simply unsustainable. At present, without Article 4 in place, we have very limited ability to manage this growth. Conversions from family homes to HMOs can happen without planning permission, leaving us and our communities completely in the dark. Introducing Article 4 would not ban HMOs, it would simply ensure that planning applications are made, giving the council and the local residents the ability to assess whether a proposed HMO is appropriate for the area. This is about restoring balance, fairness, and giving people back a voice in the future of their own neighbourhoods. So I therefore urge you to support this motion and help us move forward with implementing Article 4. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Quigg.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Well, this is an excellent advancement in where we were only in April, because it was so desperate to remove the amendment that was placed by myself and Councillor Sharp before we even got to the meeting, that we're now debating and now putting forward an Article 4 direction for the whole borough. So it was so bad in April that you didn't want it then, but all of a sudden you do want it now. I presume it's got nothing to do with Serco looking to house lots of people coming across over the channel in these HMOs, I'm sure. But let's cut a long story short. We've asked for this for a long time, and you voted it down. What's changed? Because as Councillor Alandani has said, he's put motions down, I've put motions down, amendments down, and we're here now tonight where we've got an amendment to your own motion, Councillor Taylor, because it was you who wrote it, that effectively calls for a borough-wide HMO, which is what we called it for several times before. So, to me, we've gone round the houses like we did on child sexual exploitation. We went round the houses on other issues to come to the conclusion which everybody else in the borough could see what was going wrong. This isn't good governance. This is just poor. It's just a case of we'll get to the problem and it gets so bad that then we'll address the problem rather than addressing it when it was becoming a growing issue. Because I've had HMOs in my ward and they've been, rejected at the first stage and then suddenly successful on appeal. And it's now you look at the way that, bins overflowing, crime that's associated with it, antisocial behaviour that's associated with it. These are all problems that are knock-on effects which then ruin residents' lives. And it's not just an isolated case of it, it seems to be happening across the borough on a growing scale. And, you know, residents in Shaw in particular, I'm sure, are probably at the forefront of this, but so are residents in Wright, and so are residents in St James, and so are residents in Saddleworth, who will eventually, you know, see these problems growing because, yes, there is a demand on housing, but it's becoming a go-to for a lot of investors to basically take houses and chop them up and put as many people as they can in them. And it's unfair on residents whose lives are blighted by it. And I think it's unfair that we've had to wait this long when we could have just dealt with it like they have in other places. But it's interesting you've had to do that because it was only in Tameside last night that a similar motion came up. So I'm only going to assume that the Labour Party in Greater Manchester are very scared of something else other than the fact HMOs are popping up everywhere, not just in Oldham.
Councillor Arnott, we are running a bit short on time, so if you could be...
I will be short, as I am, and I'll be as quickly as I can. Okay, right, just a couple of quick points. We will support the amendment fully. How we got to where we are, I don't know. If I was a cynic, which I'm not, I might want to read a few more things into it, but I'll take it at face value and go, okay, we're 100% with you on the amendment across the borough. But, and I'll echo what Councillor Andami briefly mentioned, Article 4 directions are not going to stop HMOs. They are just going to give another level of control to the planning officers and members who sit on planning committees. There needs to be the political will. If the political will is not there, nothing will change. And I fear greatly that we're just going to move the HMO issue to one side and it's going to be replaced with the latest problem which has come to haunt the borough, which is previous apartment blocks being now changed into hotels. So I've previously spoke about 2 on Middleton Road where suddenly they're now into hotels. There's another one in the Oldham Times last week. There's one in Alexandra. I mean, hotels are popping up in Oldham, you know, at the same rate they pop up on the Strip in Las Vegas. Have we suddenly become a tourist destination? I think not. So it will require this chamber, this council, to continue to scrutinise where this goes with the HMO issue and where it goes with the hotel issue. I know the two in any way linked, but I've been as quick as I can. Thank you.
Does Councillor Hinds wish to reply?
Yes, I do actually. Thank you. First of all, I'm not going to take any lectures on HMOs or the morality of them from the Oldham group, whose leader was prosecuted for some... Well, it's a matter of public record. A matter of public record. It's a matter of public record. Okay? Now, to suggest that HMOs are a social enterprise is absolute nonsense. They're driven by profit. People who have... The large amount of people who have to live in HMOs don't do it by choice, they do it by necessity. And as I said at the beginning, it's a symptom of the housing crisis. It's not the cure. Now, I'm not saying Article 4 is a silver bullet, but it's the best thing we have. And it's the best thing we can deliver to the communities throughout the borough. Now, for whatever reason, whether it be resource or whatever, it's been previously put back. It has been on a pathway. And to respond to Councillor Sam Aldani's fit of pique, we're in a position where we've managed to deliver and not just talk. So once again, I thank the administration and we'll be backing this amendment. Thank you.
Can we... Excuse me. Thank you. Councillor Taylor, do you wish to reply?
Please, Mr Mayor. So I will start off positive because I think it does appear for all the rhetoric that we do agree that this is a necessary step forward, and it's about putting our community and quality housing first, as I said in my speech. In relation to the point that Councillor Quigg made, what's changed? Well, I think that's a fairly straightforward answer. The government has changed and the position has changed on Article 4 directions. I think you'll find it was Michael Gove who actually was encouraging local authorities to bring forward HMOs en masse to fill our town centres with boarded up
Excuse me,
shops.
Councillor Quigg.
I am.
Councillor Quigg, can you allow Councillor Taylor to speak without interruption? Thank you.
So I think you'll find it was Michael Gove whose vision for our town centres was to basically use boarded up shops for HMOs. So actually that position has changed, things have moved forward, and the reality of it is, you know, this is common sense decision making, and I'm not surprised at all, because it's sad, it is really sad that I think, and disappointing, that councillors on the opposition benches appear to miss the point completely, whether that's purposefully or otherwise, because this is an area where we should be working together in the best interests of our borough and our residents. So the work that you referred to, Councillor Al-Hamdani, yes, it has been ongoing, but the position has changed. So what we've found in recent months, since April, is that as part of that piece of work, local authorities, as I said in my speech, who are not dissimilar to Oldham, are now finding that Article 4 directions are being passed. Now, I said we have corresponded on this. There's been emails going back and forth today and over the last couple of days, and I've been very clear about that. We are going to bring a report back to September Council. That piece of work is ongoing. But if what you're asking for, I mean, in fact, I'm not sure what you're asking for, because on the one hand, you're saying it's taking too long, and now we're saying we're just dealing with what we can do at the appropriate time. You're suggesting that we should be waiting for this report to come forward, which is just confusing and misleading. I just think that Councillor Arnott was correct in what he said, that this Article 4 direction is not going to stop HMOs. It is not going to be a silver bullet. And the devil is in the detail. It is going to be about the local policies that we bring forward. And I think, and I hope that we can all work together on this. But it does feel at this moment in time that what the Liberal Democrats want to do is to make this debate about process rather than policy. And what I would ask is that you work with us for the benefit of the residents. And, well, I mean, you can say all you want. You spent your entire speech just talking about process, not talking about the benefits of bringing forward an Article 4 direction. This is a right of reply, Mr Mayor.
Excuse me, one person speaking at a time. One person, thank you.
Excuse me. Would you like to say that again? I am not lying. I'm responding to a speech. That is the whole point of a right of reply.
Was there a comment?
Would you like to repeat that?
Withdraw my comments
about
that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. But I'll leave it there, because I think and I hope that this will be a unanimous vote. We want to work in the interests of our residents, and I will leave it there, Mr Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Does Council agree the Amendment 1? Those in favour? Those against? Abstentions? The amendment is carried. Amendment 1 has been carried. This means that Amendment 1 will take place of the original motion, and this now becomes a substantive motion on which any further amendments may be moved. We will now move to Amendment 2. Councillor Arnott.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. In light of Amendment 1, we will withdraw Amendment 2.
Now we will move to Amendment 3. Just give me a chance. Councillor Sharp, would you like to move the amendment?
Yes, thank you. Our amendment is only very, very slight. We just change it from starting in January the 1st next year to being immediate. Hopefully everyone agrees that that's we're not asking for the world like sometimes we do. So yeah, I just move our amendment. Thank you.
Okay. Time to speak. We'll go through the vote.
I appreciate that there is no time left, Mr Mayor. Can I just give a very brief explanation as to why we have got the date that we've got?
Go on.
I'll be very brief. So essentially, there is a process that we need to go through. It's a very legal process, so we can't implement ahead of that. We also need to put any prospective HMO owners on notice that we intend to bring this in. And if we don't, then it does open up the chance for those to take kind of, well, to sue the council, essentially. Okay, thank you.
We have no time for the right to reply, so we should go straight to the vote. Voting on the amendment. Those in favour? Those against? Sorry. We go to the substantive motion, which is the one that was amended at motion amendment 1. Those in favour? Those against? Thank you. The substantive motion is carried, and thank you for that. Now move to motion 2, but there's no time for that unless some want to move and just vote on it, or do you want to...
Move, Mr Mayor.
Second, Mr Mayor.
Can we, those in favour? Those against? Abstentions? Motion is carried. Item 11, notice of opposition business, which we have 30 minutes. As I said previously, the 30 minutes we allocated as follows: Oldham Group motion 10 minutes, Liberal Democrats motion 10 minutes, Conservative motion 10 minutes. We will now deal with motion 1, adult neurodevelopmental assessment and support. Can I call on Councillor Bishop to move and Councillor Garth Ackness to second on the motion?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So I thought we'd have something a little bit different for a change. I'd like to start by acknowledging and paying credit to the important role that neurodivergent people play in our communities and in society, creatively, academically and socially. Neurodivergence is a blessing, but there is no shying away from the fact that it can also present significant challenges for those, both diagnosed and undiagnosed, who live with a neurodevelopmental condition. When people think about neurodiversity, they often think primarily about autistic spectrum condition or ADHD, but for those who are maybe not as familiar, neurodivergent conditions also include dyspraxia, dyslexia and Tourette's syndrome, to name just a few. According to many research findings, it's believed that about 15%, or 1 in 7 people, are neurodivergent. UK-wide, that means millions of people. In Oldham, it equates to tens of thousands of people, many of whom remain undiagnosed into adulthood. The situation particularly impacts on women, whose neurodivergence is often overlooked or misdiagnosed as children. Many of the women I know with autism are not diagnosed as a child and even go through a number of mental health related diagnoses such as emotional dysregulation before finally being assessed and diagnosed with autism. Being able to access an assessment for neurodevelopmental conditions isn't a magic wand, but it enables the newly diagnosed and those with existing diagnoses to get a better understanding of their condition, of why they may have experienced difficulties and challenges educationally and socially. It may also open up access to therapies and resources that can really help them to manage their symptoms, such as occupational therapy. Young people don't stop being neurodivergent after the age of 17. They don't stop needing clinical support after 18. In fact, their needs can alter into adulthood, and the transition is not easy and not well catered for in this borough. Both before and after publishing my intention to bring this motion to full council, I have been contacted by neurodivergent residents, parents, voluntary organisations and healthcare professionals, including mental health professionals, all voicing their concern about the ongoing lack of clinical provision and desperate to see some sort of change for the better. One resident who contacted me said, "My son is on an ASD pathway, but you're right, there is no support, and I may end up having to go private, costing £3,000, which goes against anything I believe in, because we all deserve the right support from the appropriate NHS council services without having to pay an extortionate amount of money." The intended outcome of this motion is to ensure that the commissioning of a diagnostic service by the local NHS board is prioritised and expedited, and some hope offered to neurodivergent adults that they will be able to access a service that has been missing in this borough for way too long. You wouldn't deny somebody an appointment to check their teeth or eyes or blood pressure. Why would you deny people the ability to get answers about the way they think and the way they process information? Bring Oldham in line with other local authorities in Greater Manchester and agree to speed up the commissioning of a statutory service for adults with neurodevelopmental conditions. I'd particularly welcome contributions from those councillors who have direct experience of neurodiversity, whether that is personal experience through a family member or friend, or in a professional capacity. And hope we can go some way today to making some process. Felt like one line.
Go on.
And hope we can go some way today to making some progress on redressing the tragic lack of effective clinical provision and support locally. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Harkness.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So my day job is working in a provision supporting autistic young people to be able to access mainstream education. There are many barriers a young autistic person can face within education and obviously in adulthood. So neurodivergent conditions refer to neurological differences in the way the brain works. As my colleague has mentioned, these can include things like dyslexia, dyspraxia, autism and an ADHD. Often someone may have coexisting conditions. Now you can't see if someone is autistic. Each autistic person is different. Autistic people have strengths and some people and may need help with different things. So an autistic person may have differences with social communication and understanding, flexibility and difficulties with unexpected change, sensory sensitivities and repeating routines. An autistic person may also have strengths in things like attention to detail, deep focus, observational and absorbing facts. So I think we need to ask ourselves why 8 out of 10 autistic people have experienced mental health difficulties, and only 26% of autistic people report to be happy in school, and only 30% are in any type of employment. There's lots of reasons which I could go and talk about for a long time. One of the things I want to mention in Manchester, there is around a 34-week wait now for an autism diagnosis in young people. And CAMS appointments are inaccessible and not always autism-friendly environments. We've had a lot of talk recently about PIP in the news. People seem to have been having an even harder time in the last 12 months. And we're seeing around 3/4 of PIP assessments that go to tribunal are found in favour of the applicant. This shows a big flaw in the system and diverting this to other areas. We don't see people off. If we don't see people off on the correct pathway, then we don't support them. There's been no autism diagnosis pathway for adults in Oldham, and this is a scandal. So no therapeutic support. So we all need. We all want those who can to be able to work, but instead providing the support They are targeting they have been targeted for cuts or left to go into crisis, and then we see increasing presentations at A&E having a highly detrimental impact on the individuals and their families. So please support this motion today and begin the work to help improve the assessment and support processes in our borough. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We do have an amendment. I call upon Councillor Brownridge to move and Councillor Rustage to second the amendment. We have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In proposing this amendment, I want to confirm that we support the underlying sentiments that the original motion outlined. But I'm advised there are some slight factual errors in that motion which we'd like to amend. And in addition, we're proposing that the NHS Greater Manchester, who commissioned these services, should be instructed or invited to come to the Social Care Scrutiny Board to provide updates so that we can be assured that the service is going to improve. So the NHS provision in Oldham for neurodevelopmental assessment and support was provided by LANC UK. They gave notice that they were going to cease doing that due to an inadequate CQC rating. So at that time, the right to choose process stepped in, but the permanent solution is currently being looked at through Optimise Healthcare, who are being contracted to undertake ADHD and autism diagnosis in Oldham. It is correct to say there's a limited support in the community for neurodivergent adults. This is not an issue specific to Oldham, and it's a national issue, and we're disappointed that nothing about this has been included in the new NHS 10-year plan. In relation to the Northern Care Alliance, they only take referrals up to the age of 8 years old for ADHD and autism, and CAMS takes over up to the age of 18. There are pathways in place to support the transition into adulthood, and people over 18 can access the right to choose and, going forward, optimise healthcare. But there is significant demand, causing delays and disruption, and we absolutely agree that the service needs to be improved, particularly in terms of identification and therapeutic support, and we will seek to use our influence with the ICB to address this issue. There's nationally been a huge rise in demand for ADHD assessments, as has been mentioned. NHS Greater Manchester is currently working on a new model for this as part of redoing the entire pathway for adults, which is currently being consulted on with the public. We need to be part of shaping those proposals for our residents so that access to assessments and treatment is timely and support can be provided of a high quality. So I would propose the amendment, not least because holding the NHS GM to account at our scrutiny board would be a way of actually determining that progress is actually being made. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We are at the end of the time for this section now, so could you just move the motion? No time to speak.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, sadly I can't speak. I second it formally. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Right to reply.
I've run out of time completely.
I do. The right of reply here.
We need to go to the vote.
There's some really important sort of points that have been raised here that I need to...
We need to stick to the timetable.
Yeah, they should include the right of reply. It's standard procedure, surely.
In the timescales.
Yeah. Can I move an extension for 5 minutes, Mr. Mayor?
Okay, it's agreed. Right. We've already... Right, quick. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll be as quick as possible. I agree about GM commissioning should be invited to health scrutiny. I think that's perfectly acceptable. I also accept that the under 8s are assessed by the Northern Care Alliance, and the over 8s, between 8s and 18s, are done by CAMS. However, both come under the NHS. So, firstly, as I pointed out in the preamble to the motion, right to choose is a flawed and inappropriate option for people with neurodevelopmental conditions. So it's really concerning to hear it being rolled out as such. I found the amendment disappointing, although I accept, a couple of points that you made. I found it disappointing in as much as it really invalidates and detracts from the substantive part of the motion, which is to get on with commissioning the provision of this service. People are sick of hearing that it's in the process. It's been in the process for years. We want to know when it's happening. The amendment seeks to further blur the lines and obfuscate, and I'd encourage all members to reject it. The premise of this motion is just to get on with it. It's a disgrace that it's taken this long and people are fed up with being fobbed off and their needs not prioritised. One mum said to me, "My daughter has autism. She was diagnosed at 5. I had to fight for everything during her education. She's 18 now and has also been discharged and left with 0 support. So it doesn't sound as though this family has heard about the wonderful transition into adulthood referenced in the amendment. And no, these are not random anecdotal cases. They are the same message being repeated over and over again, and it needs dealing with now, not down the line. Why does this service have to be provided by an outside organisation anyway? Why not directly by the NHS as it is in Tameside? What we have here in Greater Manchester, it seems to me, is a postcode lottery, and it's dreadful. It's great to hear about the GM consultation, but what good is a consultation that nobody knows about? Where are the details? How is it being promoted? People don't want more talk, they just want some action. My final message is clear. Listen to what people are telling you, see the glaringly obvious, and admit that the lack of clinical support over the last however many years has been woefully lacking. I urge members to reject the amendment, vote for the motion unamended, and let's actually get the ball rolling. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Brownridge, we had an extension of 5 minutes. You can a quick reply.
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's fine.
Right, could we move to the vote on the amendment? Those in favour of the amendment? Those against? And any abstentions? The amendment is carried 30-27. The amendment has been carried. This means that the amendment will take the place of the original motion, and this now becomes the substantive motion. We have no time to speak on that, so we will go straight to the vote. Those in favour? Those against? Any abstentions? That was unanimous. The motion is, and the substantive motion is carried. Thank you. We will now move on to motion 2, investing in Coldhurst, resurfacing West End Street pitch and reclaiming Merton Field for open community use. I call on Councillor Waheed to move and Councillor Montaz Ali Azad to second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, honourable members and members of the public, I rise tonight not just as a councillor but as a voice for every community that feels forgotten when it comes to local investment, and especially when it comes to our young people. Let me start where this motion begins, at West End Street pitch in Oldham. From the age of 6 to 19, I played on that very gravel pitch almost every evening. The pitch was our arena, our playground, our escape. It was open, it was free, and it was safe. Now it's cracked, it's dangerous, and worst of all, it's empty. And let me be clear, it is not the community that has failed that pitch. This council administration has. They'll turn up for the photo ops when the community organises a clean-up. They'll smile for the camera, post the pictures online, but when the cameras are off, so is the urgency. No plan, no funding, no progress. Meanwhile, this council has overseen £6 million in government sports funding, 1 million for resurface of a pitch tied to professional sport, 5 million to develop a university centre and hospitality spaces in the stadium. Now, I'm not saying these investments don't matter, but I am saying this: when millions flow into private flagship projects and not a penny into our most deprived communities, that is a political decision. And it's a choice this administration continues to make. In Hollywood, the story is the same. We have Merton Fields, leased to Hume Grammar School, sitting fenced off, unused and undeveloped. We all know, with VAT on tuition fees and financial pressures mounting, Hume Grammar is selling assets, not investing in them. There is no serious plan to develop that land. So once again, the people are left with nothing but locked gates and missed opportunities. This motion is simple. It asks the Council to investigate the legal and physical status of both sites, explore funding and partnership options, which we know are there available at the moment, and report back within 6 months with a real, workable solution. I want to thank Councillor Azad, who has worked tirelessly to get this motion to the floor, especially for championing the case for Coldhurst. I also want to acknowledge the Coldhurst Labour councillors, who told me they were disappointed not to be asked to co-present this motion. And I hear that. But I say this from the heart: supporting this motion is just as powerful as presenting it. Let's not fight over credit, let's fight for the community. I also thank the Monitoring Officer, Alex Bugatov, for his professional support in helping us shape this motion properly. To colleagues in every ward, this motion may start in Coldhurst and Hollingwood, but it must not end there. Every child in every corner of Oldham deserves access to a safe, free and open community pitch. So I ask this chamber to go further. Let's commit to a borough-wide review of community pitches, and let's ring-fence a portion of the future sports funding specifically for grassroots open access facilities. Because if we only fund what's good for the headline and forget what's good for our people, we lose trust, we lose fairness and we lose the future. Let's not do that. Let's start fixing it tonight. I move.
Thank you. Councillor Montaz Ali Azad.
Mr. Mayor of the Council, I speak today to support this motion. This is about Western Street weather pitch in Coldhurst. This pitch is very important for the people. It is for the children, the teenager, the family. It is where they play, where they feel safe, where they come together. Many years ago, this was a good pitch. Every evening, children and adults came to play football. It was free. It was open. No booking, no fees. Just bring ball and play. But now, the pitch is broken. The floor is cracked. It is not safe. Many parents tell me we have nowhere to take our kids. That is very sad. Youngsters tell me they miss having somewhere to play football. The people in Coldhurst are asking, why can't we fix this pitch? They are not asking for something big or expensive, just a safe pitch where their children can run, play, be healthy. I speak to the parents and the young people. They are all saying the same thing. Please bring this pitch back to life. We know the council has got funding, big funding, for sport in the Oldham. That is good. But we must also help area like Coldhurst. The people are also pay council tax. They also deserve investment. They also deserve respect. The motion is asking for a report to look at how we can help. This is fair, this is right. I support it 100%. I also thank council officers and members who will look at this properly. I ask all councillors to support this. It is not for me. It is for the people of Coldhurst and also the people of Oldham. Thank you very much.
We do have an amendment. I call upon Councillor Malik to move and Councillor Jabbar
Mr.
to
Mayor,
second.
can I raise a point of order, please?
Yes.
I just note in the amendment that it names councillors specifically, and I wasn't aware that we could do that, given that I thought we had to be specific with and not name with individuals.
I'm not aware of that, and there doesn't appear to be anything in the Constitution unless you know different. Okay, thank you. Going back to that then, Councillor Malik to move and Councillor Jabbar to second. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I rise this evening to move the amendment entitled Investing in Western Street Beach, Coldest. This is just not an amendment, it is a statement of intent. A call to invest in Coldest, not with words, but with action. It reflects both the current reality and the enduring aspiration of our community for a better, safer, and more inclusive sporting and recreational spaces. First, I want to address an important clarification. The original motion referenced Merton Fields. That reference has now been removed, not as an oversight, but as a necessary correction. Merton Field is a valued green space, yes, but it sits in Hollinwood, not in Coldest. Including it in a Coldest-focused motion would have been inaccurate and misleading. These amendments puts accuracy and local relevance at the heart of our deliberation. Now let us return to the heart of this amendment, the Western Street Beach. This ground has long been beating hard for our grassroots sports in Coldest, but it's been left behind. The surface is cracked, the drainage is failing, and the pitch is no longer fit for purpose. For too long, Coldest has seen its vital assets fall into neglect. Yet, despite this, the community has never stopped believing. Local residents, youth clubs, volunteers, supported by Coldest Labour councillors and our MP, Jim McMahon, have shown relentless commitment in restoring this playing space. Their determination speaks volumes about the resilience and spirits that defines Coldest. Thanks to the Cabinet and the input from my colleague, Councillor Jabbar, the pitch has now been formally recognized in Oldham's playing pitch and outdoor sports strategy. This is more than a box ticked. It is a door opened, a door to regeneration, a door to meaningful investment. Oldham is moving forward with a £70 million sports town project, and £6 million of that is already in place. But we need to make sure Coldest gets its fair share of that money. The pitch on West End Street is not a luxury. It's a basic need. If we are serious about creating a fair, healthier, and a stronger Oldham, then places like this must be part of the plan. This motion today helps to make sure that happens. This amendment reaffirms our resolve to widen the access to local sport facilities, explore the cooperative model for governance, giving the community a genuine ownership of its future, and ensure that regeneration funding reaches the place that needs it most.
Councillor Malik, we're out of time on this.
Just 2 lines, please. Move extension, please. Thank you. We are also calling for reports to be submitted to the Place Scrutiny Committee, not neighbourhoods, not communities, as previously suggested. Those communities no longer exist. sorry, those committees no longer exist. Let's ensure our process reflect today's structure, not yesterday's.
Councillor Malik, we are out of time. Thank you.
I commend this amendment to Council. Let us match the courage of our communities with conviction of our decision. Let us vote to invest only in pitch, not in cold.
We are out of time on this one. Councillor Jabbar, do you wish to second it without speaking?
I wish to second it without speaking. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Can we move to the vote on the amendment, please?
Can I have my reply, please?
Give me a time. How many? 5 minutes. 5 minutes extension, are we agreed? We've got the extension, so can Councillor Jabbar speak just for 1 minute?
Pardon?
We've got the extension, or no? Okay. All right. Okay, no, it's fine. We're still. Go ahead.
Right, okay, so just to be clear,
Go ahead.
how long have I got?
Go you.
5 minutes.
Sure,
okay,
response,
thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. Right, so thank you, and let me begin by saying that I would welcome any motion or any amendment that genuinely aims to deliver for Coldest, for Hollywood, and for our children. I find it quite amazing, Councillor Malik, that you would erase Hollywood in the manner that you did, especially when it was a Hollywood councillor that's proposed this motion for Coldest West End pitches. So that's really bad form on your part, because it's not just about Coldest, it's about the whole of Oldham, and no doubt it's about Hollywood. And Councillor Nassim, I see you sat there not saying much, allowing colleagues of your own to erase every mention of Hollywood when you're elected to speak up for Hollywood. So, you know, it's bad form on your part as well, because, you know, you will be asked at the doors, you know, what did you do for Hollywood? But what we've received back from Councillor Jabbar and Councillor Malik is not what the community needs. It's not bold, it's not urgent. It's frankly a diluted and self-serving rewrite of a serious proposal. They've replaced action with consultation. And I have to ask, consult who? How many times has the people of Coldest come to you and told you what they want? What more consultation do you want? In the summer, just before the elections, another photo op for you. You know, that's all you want. The residents of Coldest, they've already spoken. Youth groups have already picked up rubbish, tried to restore the pitch with their own hands. They didn't wait 6 months, they acted. This amendment wants another consultation, another listening exercise. For what? Another photo shoot before our next election. Now let's talk about the names in this amendment. Councillor Jabbar, Councillor Quake, there's a lot of mention of Councillor Jabbar, Councillor Malik and the MP, Jim McMahon. Their names are all over it, as if it's a campaign leaflet. You know, you would get mistaken, wouldn't you? It would be a campaign leaflet, this. But I'll say what many are thinking. The same names have had over a decade to fix this pitch. And what have they delivered? Photos, not football. Councillor Jabbar even asked to present this motion jointly. I agreed. He promised to call me. He didn't. I rang him 6 times. No answer. This isn't about teamwork or community. It's about who takes credit. And that's what frustrates the people, because while politicians are busy positioning, young people are losing opportunity every single day. Now let me turn to Hollywood, because this amendment, Merton Fields, had been erased. And if you were to do a single thing to really annoy me, that was it. You know, like, so you've really annoyed me in regards to this part. And how dare you? How dare you single out Hollywood? You know, I proposed Coldest, and I'm a Hollywood councillor. You know, you brought in the amendment. You should have been doing it. And I say this sincerely, Mr. Mayor. Can we really check if my fellow councillor, Councillor Aslam, is awake? Because I haven't heard a word still. Yeah. And is this what he was elected for, to sit silently while Hollywood loses its last potential green space?
Point of order, Mr. Mayor.
Is it just here
Point
to
of
vote
order.
when told by his party?
Sorry,
I say this now. When
it's a genuine point of order. Sorry, this is a right.
No, you can wait for his.
No, it's a point of order based on what you're saying now. So this is a right of reply because other people have spoken. Well, one person's spoken, and that's Councillor Malik. And he keeps mentioning Councillor Naseem Aslam, who hasn't spoken. So in a right of reply, he shouldn't
Point
be
of order,
mentioning
that's my complaint.
someone who hasn't
That's
spoken.
my complaint.
These people haven't spoken. There was no time. And he's talking about electioneering and leaflets and what have you. He's just attacking his ward colleague because for political reasons. He's not spoken. So he shouldn't be in a right of reply. Shouldn't be talking about people that haven't spoken.
Mr. Mayor, I will gladly give up a minute of my time to give Councillor Aslam the opportunity to speak. And
Mr. Mayor, point of clarification, please. My name has been mentioned several times.
Can I finish my... Let me finish what I'm saying, please.
Your time is finished now.
Can I have extensions? They've interrupted me. Does that get counted in my time, does it?
It was an extension. Move to the vote, please.
You've got 20 seconds. And then
go against the amendment.
Your time gone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, point of clarification.
Point of personal explanation.
Mr. Mayor, can request we move to the vote?
You can't go to the vote.
Mr. Mayor, can request we remove to the vote, please?
Point of clarification.
Move to the vote. No, it's not allowed. He said he doesn't.
Whoa. If you wish to speak, stand up and don't interrupt. Councillor Jabbar has asked for a point of personal explanation, which he is allowed to do at any time. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So many times my name's been mentioned. I was going to speak. Well, the reason why I didn't answer your call because I was abroad and my phone was switched off. That's the reason. So no. I've given you an answer why it was fun. No. But Mr. Mayor, people are saying that suddenly they're owning this and we're not doing anything about it. This strategy, the playing field strategy, came to the Community Council in November in the Central District. At that meeting, I changed the rating for this to bring it into the recognised playing field. It wasn't in there, right? That's what happened. So if you no, you need to listen to me first, right? Because your problem is you don't listen. It came here. But all the things that you said about we need to do a review and everything else, the playing field strategy came here at the last council meeting. And it was there. So again, all you're trying to do is take glory. Listen, my friend.
Sorry. Point of order, Mr. Mayor.
No.
You've had your point of explanation.
No. The point of explanation, Mr. Mayor, is this is in my ward.
Move to the vote, Mr. Mayor. Count the times. Move to the vote.
And they are saying things that's already been done by the council.
Okay.
The council's done it already.
Thank you. Right, we will now move to the vote on the amendment. Those in favour of the amendment? And those against? (34) against. The amendment is carried. We'll now move to the vote on the substantive motion. Those in favour? Those against? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. We will now deal with motion 3, a revision of the Don't Trash Oldham policy with regards to gully cleaning. I call on Councillor Pam Byrne to move and Councillor Luke Lancaster to second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't think I can be as controversial about drains. I will. This motion asks for a revision of the Don't Trash Oldham policy with regards to gully cleaning. This policy sounded wonderful at the outset of Don't Trash Oldham, to have a team in your ward not only to flush gullies but to remove detritus in those overgrown and long forgotten and even tarmacked over gully. We're now in our 3rd fiscal year and it has just reached the Saddleworth wards. Alexandra Ward, who were the first, must also be suffering. In the past 18 months, there's been some exceptional rainfall in the whole of the borough, in fact the whole of the country, and the consequence of not clearing gullies unless it floods properties is a false economy. Those block gullies, many that feed into culverts, need cleaning more often. Oldham and Saddleworth has few flat bits and more hills. And during these downpours, old hillside watercourses spring into life and block gullies add to this problem, making road surfaces unsafe and often downright dangerous. This policy, whilst achieving at the beginning, has now lost its momentum, and the damage from consequential flooding with its cost is no longer working as was intended. Operational services simply do not have enough resources to tackle this. They currently have 2 gully wagons, those are the things that jiggle the muck in the gullies, which in 10 months' time will be down to 1 next May. Rochdale has 3 permanent wagons and 3,000 less gullies than us, and they find it difficult to keep them all clean. Our wagons are frequently still being diverted to carry out emergency and ad hoc gully cleans despite the policy. This cannot continue without more resource, plant and personnel. We have 47,595 gullies that we know about in Oldham, and that's on the main highways, and there are many more that are not on official records. That's 456 to be cleaned a week, or 91 per day. There are hundreds and hundreds of culverts in the Saddleworth area alone, which many not on the main highway. Culverts that are Georgian, Victorian, Edwardian, and which were built to feed the mills and factories during the Industrial Revolution. Gullies that feed into these culverts need clearing more regularly than they are at present, and if not cause overflow problems to highways, railways and property. We know that our weather is changing and that rainfall now comes in greater volumes when it does. We need to act by looking at policy and being proactive in our future investment on the necessary plant and workforce to deal with this. We must be proactive in this matter and invest now before we find that we can't cope. No finance is not acceptable here and now. We must find it. Please consider this motion and support it. The revision of it affects us all. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Byrne. Councillor Lancaster.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to make a short seconding speech in support of my esteemed ward colleague and this Conservative group motion for a review and revision of the Don't Trash Oldham programme where it relates to gully clearance. Councillor Byrne has already raised the very real and serious issues of gullies being shrouded by overgrown vegetation and those even covered under tarmac as part of the highway. In many cases, these gullies are not cleared, forgotten even, and yet are still required to serve drainage systems. They should be within scope of Don't Trash Oldham. Whilst there are some admirable aspects of the present gully clearance programme, such as training to increase operational capacity across council highway staff, there does remain outstanding as yet unaddressed challenges. For example, residents regularly report that their ad hoc requests for gully clearance are not accepted on the basis that there is no impending threat of residential flooding. This insufficient, unduly strict flexibility means that potential road closures are not prioritised to the same degree, and yet these cases can cause as much, if not more, disruption to hundreds, if not thousands, of local residents. This motion simply seeks to encourage a mid-term appraisal of the present gully clearance programme to ascertain important insights learnt so far and to progress further improvements. Gully clearance is a basic but vital service which we need to get right. That's what our residents expect. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lancaster. Councillor Goodwin.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. With regard to the gully cleansing programme, I covered much of what is happening in my report earlier, so I won't repeat the details, except additional visits take place for gullies known to block frequently, either by soil runoff or leaf fall, and this is to ensure that all reasonable steps are taken for highway safety and surface water management, especially in places where property flooding is at risk. Culvert responsibility is the responsibility of the landowners, which is sometimes shared with the council. We can't support this motion as it is simply factually incorrect. As I said, there was an investment of £120,000. There's no plan to reduce the number of wagons. The gully cleansing programme is not part of the previous Don't Trash Oldham campaign. The programme only commenced 9 months ago and is not in its 3rd fiscal year. And there's reference to the Alexandra ward suffering because it was first, and then reference to an 18 months of rainfall. Now, I'm sure this motion was compiled with the best of intentions, but for those reasons we can't support it. However, as Cabinet Member with this area of responsibility, I'm happy to sit down with yourselves and any members to discuss.
Thank you, Councillor Goodwin. Anybody else wish to speak? Councillor Hamblett.
Well, I mean, I'm saddened to hear that the member doesn't wish to support it. However, I certainly do, and I do thank Councillor Byrne for bringing this topical issue before us, and you have certainly done your homework, and I don't wish to make this purely a Saddleworth issue because I do think it's a borough-wide issue. I know certainly some issues that affect my patch, my ward certainly. It's caused significant damage to both properties and businesses, and yet even if the road surfaces are higher than the gully, or even level with the pavement, and the highways department are not interested in sorting it out, despite the fact that it's started in 2021. I'm more than happy to meet Councillor Goodwin and take up his offer and discuss that particular issue. Ultimately, this is despite the fact that the properties are inches deep in water and affecting a businesses every time it rains, and surely it doesn't tally up with what the non-statutory deputy leader has said, considering there is a climate emergency, and as you rightly said, every time it rains the gullies are just simply not coping these days, and it's just that the highways department haven't yet caught up with exactly what is happening throughout our borough, purely in the fact that our gullies are collapsing, they're not catching up to speed, and we do need to invest, and invest now before things clearly are overwhelmed. So I'm happy to support it. I'm happy to support you. Thank you very much.
Councillor Byrne, would you like a right to reply?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'm sorry you think my information is incorrect, Councillor Goodwin, but it's from the officer. I don't quote things that aren't correct. I check on everything before I do it. I was, in fact, trying to find something on my phone which demonstrates, if I can, it's probably here, you can hear it from the sound of it. That's a gully, that's a culvert which has not been accessed because 2 gullies on either side of it has not been blocked. So the officers have this because that happens to be my property.
Thank you, Councillor Byrne. We will now move to the...
Mr Mayor, can I request a recorded vote, please?
Okay. Thank you. We ready? Yeah. Those in favour of the motion? Sorry. Yeah, okay.
Councillor Adams, Councillor Akhtar, Councillor Al Hamdani,
4.
Councillor Ali Moan, Councillor Ali Zahir, Councillor Arnott, Councillor Aslam, Councillor Azad, Councillor Ball, Councillor Bashforth, Councillor Bishop,
4.
Councillor Brownridge, Councillor Byrne, Councillor Charters, Councillor Chauhan, Councillor Cosgrove, Councillor Davis, Councillor Dean, Councillor Goodwin, Councillor Hamlet, Councillor Harkness, Councillor Harrison, Councillor Hince, Councillor Hindle, Councillor Hoban, Councillor Hughes, Councillor Hurley, Councillor Hussain Aftab, Councillor Hussain Fida, Councillor Hussain Junaid, Councillor Hussain Sajid, Councillor Ibrahim, Councillor Iqbal, Councillor Islam, Councillor Jabbar, Councillor Cowser, Councillor Lancaster, Councillor Malik, Councillor Marland, Councillor McLaren, Councillor Murphy, Councillor Mushtaq, Councillor Nasheen, Councillor Navesy, Councillor Quigg, Councillor Rustage, Councillor Shah, Councillor Sharp, Councillor Sheldon, Councillor Shuttleworth, Councillor Sykes, Councillor Taylor, Councillor Waheed.
4, and can you also please take Councillor Azad's vote as well? He missed his opportunity, his chance.
He was not in the chamber at the time.
Councillor Wilkinson, Councillor Williamson, Councillor Woodvine,
4.
Mr Mayor.
Against. Right. The motion is carried. Those in favour 27, those against 26, abstentions 3. Moving on to item 12, updates and actions from the council. I call on Councillor Arouche Shah to move and Councillor Elaine Taylor to second the report.
Move, Mr Mayor.
Second, Mr Mayor.
Does any member wish to speak? Councillor Alan Darnay.
I'd just like to ask, because we've written to several MPs and the Right Honourable Angela Rayner, they've all had about a quarter of a year to respond. Do they ever reply to these letters?
What letter, sorry? What letter are we speaking about?
Any ones that we send, we just said we've written to them, haven't we?
Yes, they do, and we do publish the letters when we get a response, but do you wish to speak, Councillor Taylor?
Well, can you qualify what letter you're referencing?
With regards to Angela Rayner, it was on houses in multiple occupation, as with the other three MPs. They were written to on the 16th of April. That was 3 months ago. No reply appears to be there.
What page are we on, sorry? No, it's not in there, okay. I mean, if we're waiting on a reply, we're waiting on a reply. I'm not sure what we can say. I'm sure we will have one in time for the update at next council.
Does council note the report? Thank you. We'll now take item 13, Greater Manchester Joint Minerals and Waste Plan decision-making process. I call on Councillor Taylor to move and Councillor Arouche Shah to second the report.
Move, Mr Mayor.
Second.
Does any member wish to speak? Does council approve the report? Moving on to item 14, updates on appointments to committees. I call on Councillor Abdul Jabbar to move and Councillor Arouche Shah to second.
Move, Mr Mayor.
Second, Mr Mayor.
Does any member wish to speak? Does council approve the report? The next item is item 15, update to pay policy and statement and organisational framework. I call on Councillor Arouche Shah to move and Councillor Abdul Jabbar to second the report.
Moved, Mr Mayor.
Second, Mr Mayor.
Does council approve the report? Thank you. That concludes the business of the meeting. Thank you.